To report on his sweetness, the premier running back in the National Football League, the all-time rusher, Walter Payton of the Chicago Bears. He's the first man over 1,000 yards this season.
Payton, such a great runner, such a versatile back, an exciting player.
And Walter Payton, of course, the running game of the Chicago Bears has been the #1 offensive team to move the ball on the ground in the NFL.
If the Raider defense has had one problem this year, it's stopping the running game. And that's going to be particularly difficult for them today because of 2 injuries. One to Matt Millen and the other one to Reggie Kinlaw, both in the middle of that defense, both players that play the run extremely well. They'll be replaced in the lineup by Piquel and Squirick today, and that hurts the Raider defense.
Well, let's go back to that. Here you have the best running team in football, the Bears, and here's the Raider defense. Their nose tackle and the man who plays almost behind him, they're both out.
Right up the middle, and of course that's where the Bears have to challenge them.
So that'll be one headache for Tom Flores to consider, and he must be eye-weary at that and watching the films of the Bears' pass defense this past week. This is the team with a #1 account of itself in sacks, 38, and they set a record last week, 11 sacks against Archie Manning and the Minnesota Vikings. It's a jailbreak Chicago Bear defense.
On the other sideline, Mike Ditka has looked at some film himself. And there is one player that he's concerned about. I asked him yesterday, I said, is there one guy you'd like to take out of that Raider lineup? No question, he said. Marcus Allen, number 32, leading touchdown scorer in the NFL. Versatile back. They're going to be setting their sights on him today with a very sophisticated defensive scheme.
Marcus Allen, as you see, warming up that throwing arm. He is always a threat to pass, as is Walter Payton, his counterpart with the Bears. Payton has completed 7 career passes and 6 of those for touchdowns. So the leading touchdown maker and one of the top ground gainers from scrimmage, Marcus Allen, pitted against Walter Payton. The Bears will kick it off first. Bob Thomas to root it with the wind blowing predominantly right to left from the south. And check that, Dave Pinzer will kick it off with Clee Montgomery and Dokie Williams deep for the Raiders. Pinzer the punter and Thomas, of course, the field goal kicker. So a measure of just how good the Bears are. This is the chance they've been waiting for. And the Raiders trying to rebound. They're out of first place. Montgomery hammered at the 21-yard line. Dave Durson, one of the top special teams players with a tackle. Mark Wilson, the quarterback, has Kenny King and Marcus Allen as running backs. Dokie Williams for the injured Cliff Branch and Malcolm Barnwell. Barnwell now the big threat deep, and Todd Christensen, who's tied with Marcus Allen most receptions with 45. Bruce Davis, Kurt Marsh in at left tackle for left guard for Charlie Hanna. Dave Dolby, Don Mospar, and Henry Lawrence, the offensive line. First down from the 21. Allen. Oh, this is the toughest team in the NFL against the run, and Marcus Allen feels the pinch. He gained barely a yard. The defense of Hartenstein, McMichael, Hampton, and Dent, that front 4. 3 linebackers, Otis Wilson, Mike Singletary will hit you as hard as anyone, and Al Harris is big enough to play in the defensive line. Mike Richardson and Leslie Frazier at the corners, and Todd Bell and veteran Gary Fensick at safety. 2nd and 9. Wilson almost intercepted by Al Harris, who knocked it away from Todd Christensen.
When you line up against the #1 statistical defense in the league, and they come out ready to prove what kind of players they are, you're going to have the kind of popping and the kind of enthusiasm. You just sense that Bear defense being emotionally ready to go today.
Harris, we mentioned, big enough to play in the line, which he has, is 6'5" and 253. It's 3rd and 9 for Wilson and the Raiders.
This is the favorite down if you're a pass rusher.
Wilson well protected, but gains only 4, and the Raiders will have to punt. At Soldier Field, they're on their feet for the defense.
The Bears quickly establishing control on the line of scrimmage. The Raiders lost a couple of ball games this year because they couldn't dominate at that level.
Jeff Fisher, veteran from Southern California, the only man back for the Bears at his 34. Ray Guy to kick. Into the wind. And a beauty. Fisher at his 31. 40. 50. And he's out of bounds at the Raider 48-yard line. Jeff Fisher.
Ray Guy, number 8, the punter, who's a fine athlete, down to make that stop as Fisher broke a tackle. And that's another problem that the Raiders have had. They have not been tackling as soundly as they have in the past.
Jim McMahon, like Wilson, a BYU graduate with Matsui, and Walter Payton in the backfield. Willie Gault, the speedster from Tennessee. Dennis McKinnon, a great blocker for a wide receiver, and the tight end, Emery Moorhead. The line has Jim Covert, the youngest captain in the NFL. Bortz, Hilgenberg, Becker, and Van Horn.
That's a big offensive line.
First down, Raider territory. Guess who? And Payton is near the 45-yard line. A remarkable statistic. Walter Payton, busy as he is, has not coughed up the ball on a fumble this year. Defensively, here's the team that will try to get that first one. Long, Piquel, Alzado. Piquel playing for Kinlaw on the nose. Brad Van Pelt, the ex-Giant, Squirek for Millen, Nelson, and the top linebacker, Rod Martin, 53. Hayes and Haynes on the corners, Davis and McElroy at safety. 2nd and 7. Payton, a little misdirection, and he's hit hard at the 44-yard line. And that's the way he likes it. He'll find somebody to run into.
Dick, when Payton came into the league back in 1975, we played against the Bears both his rookie year and his second year, and I looked at him, I said, this kid better learn how not to take those shots. He'll never last. Well, here he is 10 years later, and he still attacks the defense. It really separates him from many of the other backs, and it's amazing that he has been able to survive as long as he has.
Not only survived, leads the NFL this year, leads the NFL in rushing history, and he's only missed one game in his entire career. Passing down for Jim McMahon. But he goes to Payton. And Payton wrapped up on a good ankle tackle from Mike Davis, number 36. And Davis, the strong safety, he's going to be tagging, shadowing Payton all day.
He is really crucial to their plan at stopping Payton. You see him getting congratulated on the sideline. A very physical safety, very strong. He's going to be a key man in that Raider defense today.
So Payton on 3 tries, unable to pick up the first down. And Finzer will be punting it away. Greg Pruitt, who's had some trouble fielding punts cleanly, stands back at the 10. He hits it hard. Will he catch the sideline? No. And the Raiders take over at the 20-yard line, just about where they were when they received the opening kickoff. 11 minutes left, first quarter, the Bears and the Raiders.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway, looking for adventure. And whatever comes our way.
We shaped the Mercury Cougar to help the car hug the highway. It's a shape you'll always feel good in, just like that old leather jacket.
Born to be wild.
Cougar from Mercury.
There's a style in your life no one could ever deny. You're on your way to the top, and along the way you've always known just who you are. Where you're going, you've always known it. Where you're going, it's make a love.
Where you're going, it's exceptionally smooth Michelob.
Where you're going, it's make a love.
Soldier Field, built as a monument to World War I heroes here in Chicago, south of downtown, overlooking Lake Michigan on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. No score. Raiders' second chance. They start from the 20. Wilson up top. His arm was hit, incomplete. Dokie Williams, and a flag is down, and they may call roughing against the Bears. Steve McMichael was the man who hit Wilson as he unloaded the ball.
Singletary over to question the official.
Pat Haggerty's microphone, at least not operative.
Having a little problem. But that's not the kind of physical football you want to employ. You want to be rough and tough, but penalties like that are costly. And the Bears, we talk about Raider penalties. These Bears have been penalized many times themselves.
They are the officials today.
Roughing the passer, number 76.
Michael a bit too rough in taking Wilson down, and it cost the Bears 15 yards. Not an easy assignment today, Merlin, because of all the pregame talk. The Bears proud of their heritage, their toughness. Of course, the Raiders with their own reputation. Marcus Allen trying to get outside. Little running room. And he has 7 yards at the 42 before Gary Fensick can bring him down. And an entry downfield to Leslie Frazier as he was blocked by Dokie Williams. First score, Pittsburgh. Didn't take them long against the Oilers in the first quarter. Mark Malone to Stallworth, 57 yards.
The weakness of this Bear defense, if you analyze them, is in the cornerbacks, and that's one of their cornerbacks on the ground now.
Frazier, the free agent pick from Alcorn State. So with the injury, we take this break from Soldier Field.
Obviously, the 1985 Mercury Topaz is shaped to hold your family, but it's also shaped to use the wind to help the car hold the road. It's a shape that will move you even when you're standing still. Topaz from Mercury.
Save now during the Gift Spectacular at Kay's Merchandise. The Costco king-size folding padded table only $21.74. Matching chairs $39.97 a pair. Your price after rebate is only $19.84 on a Pollenex deep heat footbath. O'Sullivan Home Entertainment Center sale priced at $149.74. Moss 52-inch 3-speed reversible ceiling fan $59.97. Optional light kit $27.84. Hurry in for the Gift Spectacular at Kay's Merchandise in Rockford.
Granite Airlines make you scream? Does the fear of flying get you down? Don't delay. Make your reservations now for Airplane Monday.
Welcome back to Chicago. It appeared that Frazier was okay. Left the field, of course, has to miss at least one play. And Sean Gale, 23, has replaced him at the right corner. Second and short for Wilson. Good protection. Dumps it off to Allen. And Marcus Allen has the first down of the game at the 48-yard line. Mike Singletary, Samurai, the middle linebacker, makes the tackle. From Chicago, we go to New York.
All right, Dick, if the Oilers lose today in Pittsburgh, it'll be their 23rd consecutive road defeat. The Steelers are happy to oblige. 43-yard pass from Mark Malone to the veteran John Stallworth, who beat Willie Tullis, a man often picked on in that Oilers secondary. 7-0 Steelers.
All right, Bob. That Stallworth has really rebounded and having a great year with the Steelers. First down play for Wilson. And he's going long for Barnwell. Almost intercepted on the deflection by Todd Bell, who hustled back to help out Mike Richardson. You can see that ball fluttering into the wind.
Not a good pass. 3 interceptions off Wilson last week. Those turnovers costly in the loss against the Broncos. A couple of those on deep balls that were not thrown well, but I believe you're right in saying it was the wind that did knock that one down. And from talking to Bear players, they say the wind may well get worse as this game wears on today, even shifting and swirling in this stadium. We'll keep an eye on that for you.
Capricious. It doesn't appear to be blowing that strongly now, but it gusts at times, and it doesn't always blow in the same direction. That ball really flopped in the air.
That's tough on a passer, I'll tell you.
Second and 10. Pressure on. The throw. No! Is it intercepted? No, the ball was out of bounds. Dokie Williams almost had it, and then it bounded off his arms and right into those of Leslie Frazier, who was returned to the lineup, but he was out of bounds.
Dokie Williams, of course, playing in place of Cliff Branch, who's being rested again this week, out with a groin injury. Williams has the ball in his hands. Indeed, should have been a catch. Watch him control it here. He has plenty of room to the sideline. I think started to worry about that sideline and let the ball drop back over his head. But not having 2 feet in bounds, it doesn't cost you a turnover.
Here's where the Bears bring almost 8 men up on the line of scrimmage in that unique alignment. 3rd and 10. Fumble! And the Bears don't have it yet. And the Raiders recover. How do you do? Kenny King, the fullback, has those big linemen of the Bears trying to pick up that bounding pumpkin, and they just couldn't squeeze it.
Tom Flores on the far side just shaking his head. And Mark Wilson still down on the turf, has not moved. And with Jim Plunkett on injured reserve, this could be very costly to the Raiders as they're out to check Wilson.
Yes, they have David Hum, who was in Las Vegas working there, playing golf the first half of the year, and then it's Ray Guy.
An 8-man front virtually for the Bear defense, and there's the blitz from the blind side right there. Woof. Just vicious. Otis Wilson, number 55, and right behind Singletary. He's the man they single out as being their second most aggressive linebacker. Watch from the right-hand side of your screen. Number 55. No one even touched him. He just literally lifted Mark right off his feet, and I don't think it's a lower body injury, but looked like a whiplash almost. The concerned man, you just saw his eyes, and the concern in his eyes right in the middle of your picture is Jim Plunkett. Of course, not in uniform. He won't be eligible until the Seattle game.
Next week he could be, but you remember Tom Flores said yesterday he thinks it'll be at least 2 to 3 more weeks. We'll see how Wilson is. We'll keep our eyes on him as Ray Guy. They actually gained a couple of yards on the fumble forward. It's 4th and 8 at the 50. Jeff Fisher, he had an excellent 22-yard return his first try. And does he stay in bounds? Yes, he does. It tiptoes out at the 24-yard line. So the concern now, the health and welfare of quarterback Mark Wilson. If he can't go, it'll be David Hum, who did not even open the season with the Los Angeles Raiders. No score, 8:44 left in the quarter.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe.
So send for me, oh, baby.
Today, people are getting into better shapes than ever. Shapes that use the wind to help Mercury cars cling to the road. Shapes Mercury will be in for years because handling, comfort, and quality never go out of style.
Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough.
First report we get is that David Hum may not have to come in, that Wilson is okay. But concern, a lot of that on the sidelines for the Raiders.
Certainly a lot of that. Dick, while we have a second, just like to pass along to you congratulations from all of our team and all of us at NBC for being voted National Sportscaster of the Year by your peers.
That was
I've known that for a long time. I think it's just nice to see you honored for your expertise.
I move my lips and you do my voice. You know that. And Al McGuire does the same, and Bud Collins. It was a kick in New York because it was a Hall of Fame dinner on Tuesday night last, and they honored the real giants in sportscasting: Graham McNamee and Bill Stern, Ted Husing, Red Barber, and Don Dunphy. First group into the Sportscasting Hall of Fame. From the 24, the Bears in a scoreless first quarter. McMahon's first pass, and he's going long. Willie Gold, he has it at the 26-yard line. Lester Hayes thought he had it, but it's a 50-yard play for the Bears.
The Raiders have been challenging people to go after their corners for a long while. And it's just been in the last little while that people have begun to accept the challenge. Willie Gault, world-class speed, challenges the speed of Lester Hayes and then makes a fine catch as Hayes is all over him. Finally gets him out of bounds to save the touchdown.
Boy, what a throw by McMahon.
McMahon coming on with that broken hand. He still has a lot of swelling, but it doesn't bother his throwing.
First down at the Raider 26. Little play action. Man going for 6. And McKinnon well covered by Davis.
The crowd felt that McKinnon may have been bumped a little bit. Davis is a physical player, but he's up against a physical player there. McKinnon is one of the most physical young receivers in the league. You'll see him picking up right here. There's the bump the crowd was thinking about, but that's incidental in the minds of the official in this case and not ticketed. Davis is going to be a busy man today, along with his regular responsibilities. They have given him special responsibilities on Walter Payton.
Galt, the speedster, to the left. McKinnon right. Suey and Payton stay behind McMahon. Payton to the 19-yard line. 7 yards for his sweetness. Bob Nelson, the tackler.
The man most surprised by all of that was an official who was cut down at the end of this run. Watch Payton in action here. Behind the blocking of Suey, little misdirection to the right and then back against the grain. Good blocking inside, and there's the official doing a little back dance and slap to the ground.
26 yards now for Payton against the Raiders. Whoops, Raiders were offside, and Payton, he's on his way for a touchdown! Well, that end zone is Payton's place, and he has his 7th touchdown this year.
Anytime a defense jumps offside, and they were drawn off, McMahon staggering his count, this is a freebie. No matter what happens, they know they've got another chance, but it's breaking tackles right there. McElroy, Davis running right out of the arms of 2 of the very most physical safeties in the NFL, and he shows you how he attacks the defense right there. And congratulations from Mike Ditka on the sideline, and the Bears have gone out ahead in this ballgame.
And a 50-yard pass, McMahon to Galt, setting up the 18-yard run by Payton. Bob Thomas, the point after. He's got it.
Dick, they were challenging the middle of the Raider defense. Number 71 right in the middle of your screen. Piquel, Nelson the linebacker. And there's a first missed tackle by McElroy, the second by Davis as he runs away from the Raider defense. Outstanding.
Next Saturday is Thoroughbred Racing's $10 million day on NBC. The Breeders' Cup, a day to remember. You're invited.
He is the son of Seattle Slew and racing's first fall Triple Crown winner. Slew of Gold is John Henry's only serious competition for Horse of the Year. Slew of Gold and racing's living legend John Henry now face their greatest challenge, the Breeders' Cup, on NBC.
Aha! Pink footprints. A clue that this house is built with high-quality building products. Observe Exhibit A, the pink attic blanket insulation from Owens Corning. The most powerful roll of thermal protection you can buy. Follow me. Exhibit B, long-lasting roof shingles with a heart of pink fiberglass. Again, from Owens Corning. And attractive, easy to install Owens Corning fiberglass ceiling panels. Yo! Finally, the high-quality Owens Corning tub shower. Its slip-resistant surface has a, excusez-moi, a pink panther.
Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink.
And the good news from Ron McAnally, the trainer of John Henry, worked out yesterday, and he says 60-40% now that John Henry, who suffered an injury a week or so ago, will run next Saturday in the Breeders' Cup. That 9-year-old racing wonder. We hope you'll be with us. 4 hours of live coverage, unprecedented. The Breeders' Cup next Saturday on NBC at 7-0 the Bears. Boy, they've got their own thoroughbred, Walter Payton. Doki Williams at the 3. Little daylight, and dances to the 35-yard line. Now let's check the sidelines and who's going to be the quarterback for the Raiders. David Humm, last-minute chat with Tom Flores, and Humm, those are his career numbers, not this season. David Humm, who is now in his 10th season, has only thrown the football 130 times, used sparingly at best.
There's the man they're concerned about. It looks like, I think we're going to see Mark Wilson in this game. They were giving him oxygen on the sideline. I think they're just giving him a little breather. That whiplash, I think, may have numbed his senses a little bit, Dick.
Now it's Humm under the gun. Marcus Allen, no gain. Dan Hampton on top, collaborating with Richard Dent, 95, down around his ankles.
Dent has really come on as a sacker in the last few games. Look at the Bears statistical edge there. Yards per game on the rushing, 79, ranked first in the NFL. And they're way ahead of the next competitor. Almost 40 yards ahead of that statistic.
Second and actually 11, a yard loss. Humm on the throw. Dumps it out to Marcus Allen. He has room. 45, 50, and into Bear territory, and a first down at the 47. A little dump off, safety pass for Humm.
That's one of the things that Mike Ditka talked about yesterday when we had a chance to visit with him. He said Allen is so dangerous, not just for his running, because he's the guy that can find the open room on the field. He's the guy that can cause trouble for you. Humm doing all that's expected of him here, gets the ball off quickly and right into the hands of Marcus Allen. And look how open Allen is. Again, that's just a little dump-off pass, but that's like a long handoff.
And Otis Wilson, the linebacker, was coming on the blitz, and Allen just ducked around it. Here's Allen up the middle, and he's at the 43-yard line. One of the concerns for the Raiders, of course, and one of the objectives for the Bear defense, to make Allen cough up the ball. He's fumbled it away 5 times in the last 3 games.
With Mark Wilson out of the lineup, there are now 7 new faces in the 2 starting lineups for the Raiders today. And that's a lot of people to turn over, and that's just since the beginning of this season.
Credit Allen with 3 on that last carry. Kenny King's first call. And he gets to the 41, a hard-earned 2. Bell and Gary Fensick, the 2 Bears safety men.
Bell almost playing as a linebacker plays, Dick. We'll get a shot of him. He comes right up, snugs up on the line. Very physical, not a big man, but interesting how more and more NFL teams employing good, strong defensive backs and linebackers almost as you would linemen.
Here again, you can see the Bears basically with a 7-man front. 3rd and 5. Good protection. Not now. Humm in trouble. Whoops. He hands it off to Davis. A free ball. And we'll wait for the signal. Bears think they have it.
A costly mistake by Humm. Almost reminiscent of a mistake by Marcus Allen last week when he lateraled to Henry Lawrence. Humm throwing that football. I think there should be a standard rule. Maybe there is. Don't throw it to the offensive lineman.
They don't know how to handle it anyway.
Let's look quickly at the Bears defense in this alignment. The 3 men inside covering one-on-one on the center, and on the outside a single defensive lineman. Now look at the 2 linebackers over here lined up on the tight end, and here's the safety up close. 8 men virtually on the line of scrimmage. Buddy Ryan, defensive coordinator, as the man who put that all together. Getting a little shadow there. Look like they're ghosts out there. Well, there certainly are as far as the Raiders are concerned, as that ball bounces loose. Bruce Davis unable to control it, and David Hum just shaking his head. He knows he made a mistake on that one.
You don't lateral the ball to an offensive tackle, and Mike Hartenstein gladly accepts it for the Bears, who have a 7-0 lead and own the football now at the Raider 49-yard line. Hartenstein from Penn State. He's been an outstanding and consistent player for the Bears. This is his 141st consecutive game. McMahon to Suey. Matsui, powerful legs driving to a first down at the 37.
11 yards on that play. Brad Van Pelt, who's now starting in that Raider lineup, had an opportunity to cut him down early, missed the tackle, very angry, but again, the pattern for this Raider defense. Missed tackles and the injuries hurting them as they're not able to control the run again, and they're off to a bad start defensively in this game already.
Keep our eyes on that offensive group and see if Wilson is going to return for the Raiders. 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. 7-0 Chicago. Good fake. And McMahon going long for Galt. And that's why Mike Haynes is an all-pro. Out there alone, a great fake, but Haynes saw Galt sprinting, a world-class runner, and there he was to make the play.
I now understand what Mike Ditka meant when he said that McMahon is the best faking quarterback in the NFL. We just don't see that kind of faking very often. Mike Haynes read it beautifully. You see him cutting back here, getting good position on the ball, and almost taking it away from Galt.
That was a superb play. He was naked and had to react to a fantastic bit of sleight of hand.
Ditka, the kind of coach who likes to go to the trickery. Flea flickers, reverses, throw it back to the quarterback. He'll do it all.
2nd and 10. And the Raiders were offside. They'll go through with the play. Payton, who scored on a similar Raider mistake, gets only a couple, but they'll benefit from 5 more. Let's check other scores. 7-0 here in Chicago. Elsewhere, the Giants draw first blood at Dallas in the first quarter. A couple of Haji Sheik field goals. Philadelphia trails at Detroit 7-3. Gary Daniels and James Jones hooked up on a 4-yard pass. 7-0 Pittsburgh over Houston. We gave you that one earlier. Tampa Bay leads Minnesota 7-3. James Wilder, a 6-yard run for the Bucs score. Cleveland 3-0 at Buffalo on a Matt Barr 28-yard field goal. And it's New Orleans 7-0 over Green Bay. Wayne Wilson, a 1-yard run. After the penalty, 2nd and 5, Chicago. Out of bounds at the 30, maybe the 29. They're going to call it inside the 29. Rod Martin ran him out.
A man who desperately would like to be on the field today. Spike, Matt Millen. He's a bull. He really plays the run better than he does the pass, and very often taken out on passing down, but he's not in there today. They're worried about a groin injury. They want to have him for the rest of the season, and I believe that we're going to see Wilson the next time the Raiders get the football, Dick. He looks like he's got his head cleared now and ready to come back into the lineup. But the Bears taking advantage of that fumble, moving down inside the 30-yard line, close to a first down.
3rd and 1. And McMahon sneaking it. It's going to be close. McMahon, who has rushed the ball so effectively, 266 yards, the top running quarterback in the league, and somewhat to the dismay of the coaching staff. But as Mike Ditka told us yesterday, what are you going to do? The guy's his own man. He's the strangest quarterback I've ever seen. He plays like a linebacker.
Well, he tries to run over the defense, and he did run over them enough to get the first down there. There's the rushing average, 7.4 yards per rush. Talking to Buddy Ryan, defensive coordinator for the Bears, I said, who does he remind you of, McMahon? He said he's a lot like Namath in the sense that he is so confident and so much of a force. He said he does not have Namath's arms, but he's got a lot better legs. He is really a runner.
And they've likened him to, there's Buddy Ryan.
There's Buddy Ryan right in the middle of your picture there.
Payton Payton. He got a couple out of it, and the instinct to stay outside. Everything said go inside, and Payton with a little dip. He's to the 25-yard line. Now, just to follow up on McMahon as we watch Walter Payton join him in the huddle of the Bears, that some of the folks liken McMahon to a young Billy Kilmer or Bobby Lane, including Ditka.
Well, at practice, he was wearing a pair of weird sunglasses, and you knew that he was wearing them just to get at Ditka, because Ditka was just grimacing every time he looked over.
2nd and 8. Yard line. Rod Martin and Bob Nelson able to topple Payton just as he was breaking into the clear.
The injury news for the Raider defense not as bad as it could have been. Martin had to leave the game last week against the Broncos as well as Millen, but he has healed rapidly and is back in the lineup and is very important to this defense. That was a fine play by Bob Nelson on that last one. Knocked off his feet, bounced back up, got in on the tackle.
All right, 3rd and 4. The Bears run the ball 65% of the time. Normally, you would look for pass in this situation.
Not against the Bears. They like to run the football.
Although McMahon comes out in the shotgun.
Well, let's see what he does. They still run from this formation.
You're right. Suey. The Raiders are ready, and it's a 2-yard gain.
Ooh.
Suey really got pinned back, but he's okay. Mike Davis, Barnes, McElroy, all in on the hit.
I don't believe he got enough for the first down. Nope, he's going to be short. The Bears given an interesting opportunity to make a coaching decision here. 4th and 1, and Ditka is going for the first down. Well, I said he's a gambler, an aggressive player, and he is putting the cards and the money on the table early.
Well, the 60,000 assistant coaches here.
They like it. Well, let's see what they if he doesn't make it. Let's see how they vote on it.
Well, but that's the fickle nature of those assistants. Payton, and even with that stretch and lurch, we'll see where they spot it. It's going to be very close. He needed a short yard.
It looked like Howie Long, number 75, at the bottom of that stack, just penetrating very aggressively. They are going to have to measure it as they signal for the crew to come in. And it's all in the spot. I think that's the toughest job for an official. One of the toughest. I shouldn't say the toughest, but trying to figure out where the point of that ball got to on the play. It happens very quickly, and they've got to measure it, mark it, and get up there and put it down.
The Raiders take over on downs. Mike Ditka gambles and loses. And the Raiders trailing 7-0. Their defense gets the ball back.
Mark Wilson will apparently come back into the ball game as the Raiders will get a chance now to put themselves back into this game.
Boy, November, a big sports month on NBC. Look what's coming up. The Skins again.
Got a November to remember with the return of the Skins game. Last year, Gary Player won $150,000 when he sank this putt.
There it is.
Nicholas, Palmer, Watson, and Player, the game's greatest foursome, plays the Skins game. America loves its sports, NBC style.
It started in 1933 with our first electric. Then came typing that looked like printing. The revolutionary Selectric. And Selectrics that correct mistakes. 1984. IBM introduces the Selectric System 2000. The Wheelwriter typewriters and the Quietwriter typewriter. A new generation of typewriters from the company that makes the typewriters secretaries prefer most.
To photograph the Earth's resources from the air, they say you need a camera that can see through clouds.
Fat chance.
Can't be done.
But Goodyear said, let's try a new way. And developed a special kind of radar.
Goodyear?
Yeah, the Aerospace Group. Radar that not only sees through clouds, but gives you pictures as sharp as some cameras. Good thing we didn't listen to what they say.
A 30% forecast of rain and the clouds starting to cover. Soldier Field in Chicago. The Bears leading the Raiders 7-0, but the Raider defense has just stopped Walter Payton shy of a first down at the 17, and Mark Wilson takes over at quarterback. You're going to have to get some bonus pay for anyone who wants to carry the football against that Bear defense. That's hazardous duty.
You can feel those hits all the way up here, and the Bears and that big Raider offensive line just thumping each other. Mike Singletary lowering his shoulder, extremely quick reaction. And look at that. He's giving away maybe 30 pounds there. I believe that's Mosbar, 72, locked up on him. Singletary not giving an inch as he just used his leverage to get in underneath that stack.
Well, he's listed at 6 feet tall at the start of the year. I noticed the latest release, he's at 5'10". So it's been a tough year for him. And that is the end of the first quarter at Soldier Field in Chicago. The Bears scoring on an 18-yard run by Walter Payton and had a chance for more, but stopped by the Raider defense.
All cars under $7,000 are not created equal. Renault Alliance from Europe's leading car maker has more room than those. Alliance has the longest wheelbase for a smooth ride. Only Alliance has fuel-injected efficiency standard. Weigh your decision, then buy the car whose benefits outweigh the competition. Renault Alliance, built in America 6161. European technology that's affordable. 10.9% financing now available on all models. Renault, the one to watch.
Send this by Emery to Pittsburgh. And if it's not there by 10:30 tomorrow, I'm holding you personally responsible.
Send this by Airborne to San Diego. And if it's not there by 10:30 a.m., Dick, you're in big trouble.
Send this by Purelator to Seattle. And it better get there by 10:30, Dick.
If you were in Dick's shoes, you'd probably do what Dick's going to do.
Hello, Federal.
Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
Walter is a worrier, worrying about how all the money in his company's pension fund is doing. Investments do have their ups and downs. He could let the travelers worry about it. We think, to be fair, the people who depend on us should get the best. So we've gotten in some of the best financial minds in the business. So far, they've made us one of the top 10 pension fund managers in the country. So Walter went with the travelers and relaxed happily ever after. At the Travelers, we believe fairness is good business.
Bears and the Raiders in good old-fashioned football, 7-0. After one quarter, we open the second period. This is the first of our NBC doubleheader today, and what a delightful marquee we have. And first of all, the statistics in this first quarter.
Bears living up to their rushing prowess as they have rushed and not allowed the rush, and you see them, well, that's unusual. They usually control the time and the clock, too. Haven't done that today.
Mark Wilson back in duty off to Marcus Allen. And Allen to the 25-yard line. A gain of about 7. Singletary made the tackle.
Dick, the one thing that watchers of this Bear team will tell you is that they do some gambling on defense. They come to put a lot of pressure on you. And if you can get past the line of scrimmage, especially against that stacked defense with 8 people up, you can do some real damage. And the Bears have been hurt by big plays this year. The Raiders are a big play team.
And Wilson now has the win. 3rd and 3. Oh, what a catch by Christensen, and he may have the first down at the 28-yard line. A one-handed snare by the tight end Christensen. Al Harris made the hit. Let's see where they spot it. Looks as if it's good enough for the first down. It is.
The blitz is coming. Christensen read it quickly and found the open turf. And look at him bat that ball back into his hands. He is such a sure-handed receiver. Does not have blinding speed, but just has a great sense about finding the open space and reading the defenses, knowing when he is a key man in the reception pattern.
It's important to note that the Raiders have been the outstanding second-half team. The Bears' success scoring has been in the first half, and the Bears, true to form, lead 7-0. Wilson, look at that ball die, and it's been intercepted by Frazier. Leslie Frazier. He's at the 12-yard line.
It looked like Wilson hit someone's helmet. He's holding his hand. He didn't know what to do. He didn't want to go over and get in on that tackle. He's going to the sideline. I think maybe he hit somebody's helmet as he finished that throw.
That ball dying and falling right into the grasp of Frazier. Let's see what happens.
We'll be able to see it from here. I think he hit someone's hand. There were hands up in front of him, but that ball just flipping out of the side and fluttering off to the side. Good reception, and second big turnover. Much easier this time to capitalize as they have the ball just outside of the 11-yard line. And Frazier has to be thrilled with an opportunity to get his team going. There was Mark on the sideline. Something obviously wrong with his hand.
Well, that was a gift right into the lap of Frazier. 33 yards on the return and a first down at the 12. McMahon, lots of time. And unable to find Pat Dunsmore, the second tight end. Second-year man out of Drake. Jack Squirick on the coverage. Well, 2 breaks for the Bears. One on Hum, dropping the ball as he tried to lateral to an offensive lineman, but the Bears unable to capitalize as they were stopped on 4th and 1 at the Raider 17. And now Frazier with one just dropping out of the sky to him on a missed throw by Wilson. And it's 2nd and 10 at the, well, closer to the 11-yard line.
And if the defense can respond to this challenge, they really dodged a bullet when they were able to shut the Bears down on 4th down. They really have a challenge here, Dick.
Matsui to about the 8-yard line. Gain of about 3. Suey, the former Penn State star, he was happy like all the ex-Lions with that upset of Boston College yesterday.
Mark Wilson on the far sideline. That's Dr. Rosenfeld on the right-hand side. The trainer, George Anderson, on the left. And they have apparently not, it must not be a very serious injury. They'd be working on it. But he obviously is checking his grip of the football, and we will have to wait and see if there's something that may keep him from coming back into the game.
3rd down and 7. McKinnon in motion. Payton got blockers, and he has a touchdown.
Payton, you give him the football. He knows where that goal line is. Jimbo Covert, number 74, a great block out in front of Payton. But it's that great acceleration as he gets to the outside, spots the opening, uses the block, and bursts into the end zone.
Bob Thomas try for point. And it's good. Well, not many teams on 3rd and 7 down near the goal line go to the run, but with Payton, they made it look easy.
Walter doing a little celebrating as he gets into the end zone. I think he tripped over a photographer's foot, but being the acrobat that he is, he just made a little celebration roll out of it.
Well, he's tough enough to bring down.
It starts with a subtle glance. The enticement of discovering something wondrously new. The Dodge Aries K. Sleek, new styling that will captivate you. Performance that will infatuate you. You always knew Aries for its economy and value. Now you'll love it for its beauty.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
The TRS-80 Color Computer 2 is a great family gift. On sale only $99.95 with these instant loading program packs. It's a game arcade, a home manager, an educational center, and you can learn to program. It's expandable with a typewriter quality keyboard.
Now this is a family gift I can really afford.
The sale price TRS-80 Color Computer 2, $99.95, only at Radio Shack.
Today's game is brought to you by Ram Tough Trucks and Revolutionary New Cars, Dodge, an American Revolution. By AT&T, the more you hear, the better we sound. And by Federal Express, why fool around with anyone else?
12.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Bob Thomas will kick off this time, 14-0.
The wind picking up here. It's blown the ball right off the tee, and I think some real concern from both coaches about what the winds were going to do late in this day, expected to be shifting around and swirling in this stadium.
He's passed Jim Brown this year, the all-time NFL rusher, and still going. He says 15,000 yards is not unrealistic. Line drive by Thomas, right through the hands of Pruitt. He's at the 9. He's out of bounds, I believe. Nope, did not go out of bounds, but doesn't matter. He's got the Raiders in terrible field position as Pruitt continues with his difficulties in handling kicks. 14-0 Bears in Chicago. Let's go to New York.
All right, Dick, in the Hoosier Dome, the Colts have come back against the Chargers. Mark Herman to Ray Butler, who goes 74 yards for the score. It came after Frank Kush had gambled on a 4th and 1 from his own 25. So it's now 10-7. Chargers still lead it, second quarter.
And here, the game of musical chairs continues. The Raider quarterbacks, David Humm, is back in. First it was Wilson, a back injury, then a hand injury apparently, and Humm starts in terrible position at his 11, and oh, he's now in a really bad spot. Todd Bell buries him at the 9. The monsters of the Midway.
Well, we build this as a physical game. It has been that, but most of the physical nature has been on the side of the black-shirted Bears. We're used to seeing the Raiders dominate people physically. Right now, they're getting the short end of the stick.
The Bears are wearing the dark jerseys today. Listen to this crowd. Allen slamming out to the 15. Mike Hartenstein and company with a tackle. It'll be 3rd and 6. You know, that wasn't too far from going all the way. Allen was close to breaking that one for a big one. There's the sack pack for the Bears with Dent and McMichael leading the way. Dent has 6.5 in the last 3 games.
Now, just 5 in the last 2 games. He is really coming on as a pass rusher.
They're after Humm. Christensen is short of the first down at the 18. Todd Bell made the hit. Oh, this crowd going crazy.
We just talked about Richard Dent, and there he is, along with number 99, Hampton. They're just going to get back there and have a meeting at the quarterback after making Archie Manning's life so miserable last week with 11 sacks. They haven't drawn a deep breath. They're back at it again today.
Well, the way Humm went down, you have to think about what happens if he is injured. Then it's Ray Guy, the punter, who would be the emergency quarterback. Jeff Fisher stands at the 37. 10 men on the line of scrimmage. Christensen snap. Beautiful kick by Guy.
He'll get a roll.
Unfortunately, it goes out of bounds. Had it stayed in bounds, he would have had his longest kick of the year. That being 63 yards prior to today. Timeout. The Bears have it again, and they're growling with a 14-0 lead.
All truck companies talk tough, but only one puts its money where its mouth is. Dodge. Because only Dodge gives you a 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty on engine, powertrain, and outer body rust-through. It covers new 85 full-size pickups, wagons, vans, and Ram Chargers, making Dodge the best back trucks in America. That's guaranteed.
No matter what pace you've set for yourself, there's a Xerox Marathon copier built just for you. Desktop copiers with advanced microelectronics. Mid-size copiers that give you a 2-sided copy of a 2-sided original and even staple. Larger copiers that constantly monitor themselves for peak performance. To see which 10 Series Marathon copier best fits your pace, call Team Xerox today.
America's favorite pastime is on NBC as the nation's top rollers battle for the title of Bowler of the Year. Something different, something special. A November to remember is waiting for you on the PBA Fall Tour next Saturday on NBC.
Bears take over at their 28-yard line, and a key defensive series for the Raiders. Down 14-0. They have to find a way to stop McMahon and the Bears. Payton is a place to start. Brother Eddie Payton, Walter said that he's the reincarnation of a great white shark. If he stops driving forward, he'll die. Well, boy, no one stopped that yet.
Dick, let's go and take a peek at the line of scrimmage right here. Jimbo Covert working one-on-one on Lyle Alzado, and that's a fine matchup. Covert getting outside of Alzado, influenced Alzado with just a brush block, and Payton so quick that he was able to get inside of Alzado before he could turn around and get a hold of him.
Picked up nearly 7. Suey. He has the first down at the 40. And the Bears are blowing the Raider lineman right off the line of scrimmage.
The word from the Raider bench is not good. Mark Wilson apparently sprained his thumb, and it looked like he hit the hand of someone coming in. You see the tape right there on the throwing hand, the right thumb of Mark Wilson. You saw him lose control of that football. Apparently cannot squeeze the football, and if you can't squeeze the football, you simply can't throw it. So it looks like it's going to be David Humm the rest of the way today.
Humm had not thrown a pass until today. Man dumping that one downfield. Willie Gault one-hopping it. Mike Haynes on the coverage. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Chicago Bears and the National Football League is prohibited.
Raider defense responding on that play as they put a great deal of heat and pressure. Mike Davis was the blitzing safety who was in quickly. That's the kind of play they need. They want a turnover right now. That's Bob Seaman, defensive coordinator, signaling in defenses on the sideline. His troops are under a great deal of pressure now.
2nd and 10. Payton. Well, they ran him wide and kept moving him to the outside, where Payton was able to pick only a couple. Van McElroy, who is now tied with Matt Millen for the leadership in tackles. He was called upon more than he wanted against Denver last week. He got credit for that one. Well, coming up, the second half of our doubleheader. Unbeaten Miami will be challenged by the Jets in New York. Kansas City at Seattle. And of course, the Seahawks still a big part of the picture. New England looking for a playoff spot. Denver a flush after that win against the Raiders last week. And Cincinnati against unbeaten San Francisco. So some great action ahead. Just settle down and enjoy the Sunday with us. 3rd and 8, McMahon. He likes to scramble, but does not have the first down. Good open field hit by Brad Van Pelt.
That's the kind of play that the Raiders wanted to see from Brad Van Pelt. They obtained him because they need someone to play the run on that left side of their defense. Van Pelt very quickly up to show you why he has been so highly regarded as a linebacker. That didn't look like that.
It sure didn't to me. Folks in Owasso, Michigan, may wonder what happened to Brad since he moved to L.A.
After a bad night.
So Finns are in to punt. Pruitt at the 15. Pruitt on the run, 30, 40. And to the 47-yard line. It's a good field position for the Raiders. Short kick and well handled by the veteran Pruitt.
Now the reality of the situation with Mark Wilson out of the lineup, you've got to severely limit the kinds of things that you challenge David Humm with. That's going to be a real problem for Tom Flores and the Raider offense.
Sounds like there's a bear in the beer.
What are we going to do?
I'll be right back.
Where's he going?
He's going to get that beer from that bear.
That's not just a bear. That's a grizzly.
Yeah, but that's not just a beer. That's fire-brewed Stroh's. I thought we had 3 cases.
Well, had to make a deal.
Stroh's and Stroh Light, fire-brewed for smoother taste.
Turbo Z. It is an American revolution.
This is Bill Cosby, and if you want the best election coverage Tuesday night, then you turn to NBC News.
Chicago Bears 6-3, their best start since 1971, and they lead 14-0 today. Their total defense first in the NFL. The Raiders defense third overall. So far, it's been the Bears that have the upper hand in the first half today. David Humm for the injured Mark Wilson. He's in trouble. Is that a fumble or a pass? If it's a fumble, the Bears appear to have it. Nope. The Raiders come up with it, and it was ruled a fumble as they came around the back door on David Humm. He got his own along with Marcus Allen.
Richard Dent working from the outside on Bruce Davis, came all the way around the horn. Here's a chance for you to see it at home. Dent right here on the bottom of your screen, and Hampton, the two men who are getting the problem in there. These are the guys that'll give you the heat right here. Hampton and Dent. Now watch them as they rush the passer. Dent is going to go all the way around the outside off your screen. Hampton right up the middle. Watch him there, coming from the backside, just stripping the ball away. No chance for the quarterback.
And serious injury possibly for the Bears. That's Dan Hampton who is down.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new 1985 Colts from Japan. Colts represent automotive quality. Like the economical Colt 3-door, the stylish new 4-door sedan, the exciting turbo, the versatile Colt Vista.
The new 1985 Colt. Imported for Dodge and Plymouth. Built by Mitsubishi in Japan. Colt. It's all the Japanese you need to know.
When you play telephone, if you can't hear everything, that's part of the game. But when you pay for calls, it's no fun. AT&T thinks that every long-distance call should sound as close as next door, and isn't that why you call?
Want to try it, too?
Calling anywhere, anytime, long-distance operators over a century of commitment. That's AT&T. The more you hear, the better we sound.
Reach out and touch someone.
Dan Hampton, a Pro Bowler 2 of the past 5 years, injured but appears to be okay. Young Van Horn, the tackler, one of my Enbergs, Hill Genberg, told me yesterday that when he was a 10th grader in high school, he came to the Rams camp and used one of your shoes.
Well, no,
or two shoes.
I gave him a pair of shoes. He came out. He didn't have any shoes big enough to wear.
How big? Wait, how big?
15 triple E's, and he couldn't find any. And I said, "Come here, son. Let's get some shoes out of this locker." He still remembers that to this day, and that's kind of fun to have that kind of recollection, Dick.
David Humm sacked on the last play, looking for a little help on the outside. Throws to Christensen, incomplete. Christensen popped by Fensick and Bell.
Dick, one of the things that happens to a team when they're hurt and when they get behind like this is people start to do everything. Todd Christensen wanted to make that play so big that he took his eye off the football. We're looking at Hampton on the sideline. Fred Cato, the trainer, working on him there. Looked like he was shaken up a little bit, but that's the danger when you get behind like this of not trying to do more than you can do in the ball game.
Third down, 17. Good protection, and it's intercepted by Fensick. Gary Fensick, now number 2 in Bears history. That's his 28th career interception.
The third turnover of the day for the Bear defense, and the Raiders, who sustained 7 turnovers last week, again put themselves in the hole. David Humm, with plenty of time on this particular pass to throw the football, simply throws a bad pass, overthrows Todd Christensen, and Fensick takes advantage of the miscue.
And the Bears with another chance with 7:11 remaining in the first half.
The essence of hitting. George Brett.
Some guys say it's the rhythm, reading the pitch. For me, it's a feeling that says, I'm going downtown.
The essence of shaving.
This is Atra by Gillette. It pivots so the twin blades stay on your beard longer. But what Atcher's all about is the feeling that says you just got Gillette's best shave.
Gillette, the essence of shaving.
So hold up! Go! Ah! Lighten the load! Lighten the load! Throw down the trunk! They're catching up! Get rid of the straws! Get rid of the straws!
Good thinking, Bart.
Yep. Stroh's and Stroh Light. Fire brewed for smoother taste.
A November to remember, Denver. The Broncos' road to the playoffs runs through San Diego, where Denver hasn't won since '80. A November to remember, San Diego. The biggest challenge in Dan Fout's stellar career remains a quest for the championship. The Broncos battle the Chargers. The NFL plays here.
My team plays here.
Dan Hampton, a hyperextended elbow. He says he's going to return.
Well, if they can put more points on the board, they may not let him come back into the ballgame. He is very important to that defense.
14-0 Bears. McMahon looking for more. Wide open through the hands of Willie Gault. Lester Hayes was the nearest Raider. 7:06 left in the half. Let's go to New York.
All right, Dick, in Indianapolis, Dan Fouts is having a good afternoon against the Colts secondary. Here he hits Charlie Joyner, who makes a nice grab. The play covers 7 yards, 17-7. The Chargers are still out in front, nearing halftime.
All right, Bill, and the Chargers, although they've been decimated by injuries, that's still one of the most exciting offenses in all of the NFL.
What a roller coaster they've had the past few weeks.
McMahon on 2nd and 10. Thomas in the game for the first time, number 33. Payton, misdirection, and he gains about 3 at the 43. Let's bring you up to date on the scores around the NFL, the early games today. The Dallas Cowboys have taken the lead 7-6 in the second quarter. All of these will be second period scores. The Lions 17-3 against Philadelphia. Houston, their troubles continue on the road. 21-0, the Steelers lead. 14-10, Tampa Bay at Minnesota. 3-0, Cleveland and Buffalo. That's still in the first quarter. Green Bay leads New Orleans 10-7 down south. And here it's 14-0, the Bears over the Raiders. I understand that Danny White injured his shoulder in that Dallas Giants game. 3rd down and 7, and McMahon going for a bundle to McKinnon, but it's out of his reach. Lester Hayes on the heels of McKinnon, but he could not have caught the ball anyway.
Howie Long having a little conversation with the officials and with Van Horn.
Well, while they talk things over here at Soldier Field, let's see what the chatter is in New York.
All right, Dick, in the rain at Three Rivers Stadium for the second time today, Mark Malone has hooked up with John Stallworth for a touchdown. This one covers 18 yards. You mentioned the score. That was the latest touchdown. It's 21-0, second quarter.
All right, Bill. Now 4th down. Fins are in to punt. Greg Pruitt back at the 17. Kick into the wind. Pruitt lets it bounce dangerously, and it takes a bare bounce as everything seems to be going right for Chicago. So David Humm will start inside his 5-yard line, trailing 14-0 with 6:07 remaining in the half.
Begin with raw steel. Shape it with fire, muscle, and sweat. Polish it to razor-sharp perfection. We're looking for a few good men with a medal to be Marines.
Dinerex versus Selsun Blue.
This side here, I've got a tingling sensation. On this side, there's not much any sensation.
Look what you use.
Dinerex.
Each shampoo has one medicine for dandruff. Only Dinerex adds extra anti-itch medicine.
Selsun Blue's lost a customer. I'm a Dinerex man.
Bill Evans can't breathe. Would you try Dristan long-lasting nasal spray?
I'll try anything.
Can you breathe now?
Yeah, I think so.
Prove it. Prove it to yourself. Dristan goes to work in seconds, lasts all day.
Well, George Hallis late George Ellis would appreciate the spirit. That was he loved to play the game hard, and it had that reputation. And Mike Ditka said, if there's one thing that I carry on with Ellis's memories, the fact that I hope he'd be proud of the toughness of my teams.
Well, they've shown it today. Woof.
And a tough spot for David Hum. Marcus Allen drilled at the line of scrimmage by Otis Wilson, 55. Wilson, a #1 pick in 1980 out of Louisville.
Now watch Wilson coming from the outside of your picture here. Wilson, number 55, right over on the outside of your picture, coming right straight across to nail him in here. The other thing you look at here is the defense just converging on the inside on Marcus Allen. Let's turn it loose and watch a good defense in action. Look at Wilson coming from the outside, and you notice how everything was shut off there.
Now Hum from his own end zone throws to Allen, who makes a fine catch at the 27-yard line, and there's Wilson downfield to cover. So Wilson greets Allen in the backfield, so Allen comes back and says hello after a first down catch.
You saw Henry Lawrence, number 70, picking Hum up off the ground. Hum dusted after the pass, but that's the kind of thing they're going to have to do to get back in this game. Marcus not happy with the tackle by Wilson, who went underneath to submarine him. I don't think trying to hurt him, just trying to get him off his feet.
Now Allen, who was tied with Todd Christensen with 45 catches, leading the Raiders going into this game, the leading touchdown maker in the NFL. Total of 12. And runs into 3 or 4 navy blue jerseys. Singletary 50 and Hartenstein along with Wilson.
And
Singletary, excellent speed and good strength. A new breed of linebacker. We're seeing more and more of them now, able to cover downfield, stay with the running backs, stay with some of the receivers, not the sprinters, but some of the receivers, and then able to use their strength in blitzing and in working the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 10. David Hum. Down he goes. Richard Dent with the sack. Four sacks for the Bears, who run their NFL lead to 42.
Watch Dent from the outside. He'll go all the way out around to come back to the quarterback here. They're also getting tremendous pressure from the inside. Even though Hampton is out of there, Jim Osborne has gone in, and look at that coming all the way around. Dent is so quick. He's just absolutely running right around Davis on the outside.
3rd and 18. Hum needs a lot and gets some of it to Dokey Williams at the 31, but it'll be shy of a first down. And Hum gets hit again. And for the quarterbacks of the Raiders, the theme song might be Murder, he says. It's really a punishing position against this Bear pass rush.
I'm sure Al Davis is wondering if maybe he hadn't better recruit some extra trainers. Things are starting to look grim on the Raiders sideline.
Well, you said it would be physical, maybe the most physical game of the year. Two teams renowned for that ability, and it's been the Bears who have certainly been out-muscling the Raiders so far.
You're at a disadvantage very quickly with injuries, and the Bears, we should say this, are healthy for the first time this season coming into the game. The Raiders, as things are going now, will not continue to be healthy very long. Hum on the left-hand side of your screen. He'll get the football away, but the pressure right there descending on him, and there it was. He just scooped off his feet. Al Wilson, 55, who's made some big plays. No, that's Dent, 95. You just saw him making a sack earlier. Well, Ahmad had talked about spending some time in the whirlpool after this ball game. They better have a big whirlpool out there.
That'll be whoops, they're going to check the fillings in Hum's mouth. Ray Guy to punt. On 4th and 5, Jeff Fisher back at the 20. Guy misses it. Scuffs it to the right. Takes a good bounce, however. Fisher fumbles. And I believe the Raiders have it at the 23-yard line. No, the Bears get it again. So even though the Raiders were signaling we finally got one, that was not the case. And the Raiders are furious at the call, apparently.
That's right in front of the Raider bench. They had about 20 extra white shirts out there to assist with the call. The man with the dark glasses in the middle, the most enraged, he's Steve Ortmeyer, the special teams coach of the Raiders. And they have, well, what have they done now?
Well, they just confirmed the fact that the Bears have the ball. Maybe we have a chance to see how they came up with that decision.
The ball was definitely loose. Maybe what happened is it got out of bounds over there. You have to control a football, Dick, and you have to control it in bounds.
First down, Chicago.
That's an understatement.
Let's take a peek at it, and you watch the ball bouncing loose. Now, the choice by Fisher right here to handle the ball, but he took his eye off of it at last second. That's Derek Jensen, the special teams captain, who had his hands on the football. Now, with no chance to see inside of that stack.
Apparently, a sharp-eyed official caught Jensen's toe out of bounds, and as he recovered the football.
On the line. Okay. He's got to be in bounds to recover that ball.
So at the 24, the Bears, well, things have gone well, haven't they? Out to the 27-yard line, and Walter Payton adds to his all-time total.
One of the things that you've got to think about on the Raiders sideline is if you can get a break here, if you can take the ball away, if you can get a fumble, and that we thought there was one for, and I'm sure that you saw that surge of energy on the far sideline. Tom Flores, I'm sure, very concerned about not only about this game, but obviously about the seriousness of the injuries and what that does to their chances long run. But they're under the gun already, having lost 2 games in their division.
67 yards now for Payton, who's likely to get it again. He hammers into the line at the 30. Yeah, we expected some of this.
You knew that was going to come.
Howie
Long and Van Horn, they had words earlier when Howie thought he was being held, and Howie just shaking his head. The new rules do allow a very liberal use of the hands.
Well, if Howie knew how big Van Horn's feet were, he wouldn't mess with him.
You better hope that Van Horn doesn't kick him.
Got those Verlin Olsen specials on. So far, Allen getting most of his work done receiving with 46 yards, and Payton is a +2 overall in their individual duel. We're at the 2-minute warning. First half, the Bears 14, the Raiders nothing.
He's Tom Flores, Super Bowl winning coach of the Los Angeles Raiders. A winner on the field, admired and respected. And off the field, he's a leader in his community.
Most of all, I want to congratulate all of you for your efforts, for your caring.
As a Spanish American, he was raised among people with diverse backgrounds.
When you work as a volunteer, you don't get paid. Why do you do it? Why do people volunteer for certain things? Who can raise their hand and tell me?
Volunteers get love and respect.
These students in the La Raza course in creative writing are learning to express pride in the rich heritage of their Spanish origins.
In America, everybody has a chance. Everybody. Natalie, a very nice paper. Keep up the good work. Congratulations.
He knows their goal is to be the best their hearts and minds can make them. United Way salutes the work of La Raza and volunteers like Tom Flores.
Thank you very much. Gracias y adelante.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
It was a tough one last week for Flores, beaten in overtime at the Los Angeles Coliseum by the Denver Broncos. Broncos taking first place away from the Raiders. First time that the Raiders have not been in first place since they moved to Los Angeles. And now it's the Bears muscling 14-0, 11 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble recovered last week against Minnesota, 4 more sacks today, a couple of intercepts and a fumble recovery, plus covering their own fumble.
Those aren't bad numbers for a whole day. We're just barely ending up the first half here.
3rd down and a short 5. 2 minutes left in the half. McMahon. Good move by McMahon, who has a first down at the 37-yard line, and he leaves a string of Raider tacklers in his wake.
Excellent use of his feet by McMahon. As we go back inside, let's take a peek at right here at Howie Long. Howie's going to be a little embarrassed about this play. As he starts off, McMahon had suckered him off the ball early with the count, and Howie lost track of McMahon, who just headed upfield and got off Lurie. He's using his voice effectively, and they've moved Howie around to try and get a pass rush there. But watch Piquel, 71. Oof. He better maybe get a sack of quarterbacks that opened up on the Bear sideline as well, as McMahon really took a hit on that play.
Now we've got all the scores and top plays for you at halftime, so stay with us. As you see McMahon talk with Mike Ditka, Ditka said, you know, the interesting thing about McMahon, he's not what you'd call your genius, a kind of a Roger Staubach mind that studied films and knew all of the intricacies, but he has a good feel for the game. He said the other, wasn't long ago, was it last week, he just said on 3rd and 5, he says, I think the flea flicker will work, and sure enough, it was the perfect call.
I was in the Tampa game and came back, and Ditka said it was so open, it was frightening as they went in for the touchdown. But McMahon, a very confident young quarterback, really has not started that many games and has been up and down in the Bear scheme of things, but he is the man right now, and he's proving himself. I had him show me that hand. He's still coming back from a broken bone in his hand, injured in a game against the Broncos. He said, I can't really cut my meat very well, but he said, I can throw the football now. There is good news.
Sounds like George Halas kind of guy. So the Bears, top team in the league rushing, having a good half, toughest to run against, outstanding there as well. That was the Bears' timeout. 14-0. They're going for more. Out of the backfield to Walter Payton, and he steps out of bounds to stop the clock at the 44. He's shy of the first down.
Payton's first yardage as a receiver this afternoon as he picks up 7 on the play, and it has to be exciting to have a man like Payton in your backfield with such versatility. Runs a nice pattern there, breaks to the outside. Gets Caldwell, number 57, a linebacker who'd gone in on the situation to try and run into the sideline. The Raiders are having to use a lot of people who have not seen much playing time in the ball game today.
The speedster, Gold is to the left, McKinnon to the bottom of your screen. And it's short to Payton as Lyle Alzado putting the heat on McMahon. Well, McMahon now is 3 for 10. One of those 3 was that 50-yard pass to Galt that set up the touchdown, and Alzado getting in on the quarterback. You know, McMahon almost wasn't a Bear, at least if the departed George Halas had had his way. When Halas first saw him, he says, you're damaged goods. He said, I think you ought to go up to Canada to play. I wouldn't give you, I think it's a little negotiation, so I wouldn't give you $200 a game to play. Well, maybe George is just trying to get him down to his price. Well, obviously, McMahon not only has made it and making it big here in Chicago, but he really is a Halas type of player.
He has that toughness. There's no question about it.
3rd and 3. 1:26 left in the half. Up on top, could be intercepted, and will be. McElroy, 25-30, 35-40, 45-50. And Van McElroy, that was the last man who could have gotten him. McElroy was that close to a touchdown, and let's see who saved it. Jim Covert. The tackle was able to cut him down just as he was ready to move into open field. So with 1:14 left in the half, the Raiders have a chance to cut into the 14-0 Bear advantage.
Miscommunications on that play. The speedy Galt downfield, obviously thinking that pattern was going to follow him inside. Quarterback threw it outside.
Hum comes in. We remind you, next Saturday, NBC Sports will proudly present the Breeders' Cup, $10 million, and some of the greatest horses in the world. Slew of Gold, John Henry, all along, plus entries from Europe. $1 million races, 5 of those, $2 million and a $3 million race. Hum. Shot puts that one to Christensen, incomplete. And Hum is down and writhing again as Jim Osborne got him.
He is hurt. He is hurt.
Ray Guy, the punter, is the emergency quarterback.
Talk about big salaries for quarterbacks. This is one of the reasons they can command them. They're trying to block in there. Kenny King had a shot at Osborne, couldn't get to him. Looks like he may have caught a helmet up underneath his chin on that play. They're going to keep him down momentarily. Bear defense just attacking there. You see the red stripe under the chin as they're...
That was from the time before. Remember, they were looking in his mouth.
Yeah, well.
Ray Guy, we were checking there. Of course, Guy, the veteran of now 12 years in the league, he has thrown 3 passes, but those well could be 3 that he's thrown from
sure
punt
they were on a
formation.
punt formation.
I don't think they've ever had to use him in this situation, although he's been ready for it.
He runs the scout defense. In other words, this last week, he was in playing quarterback, running the Bears offense against the Raider defense. And you got to believe that one man on that sideline wishes he were in uniform today. Plunkett's a tough competitor, and pull stomach muscle or no pull stomach muscle, he would much rather go out, even with his injury, than to have to send Ray Guy out there. That's, you know, if I were Ray Guy, maybe I'd say, are you sure you really want me to do this?
Well, Guy, who has a great arm, there's no question about that, as Hum has helped off the field. The second Raider quarterback to leave with injuries. Wilson went out twice, once with a back injury, once with a injured thumb, and now Hum, he went out once after a whack. You saw the bruise on the chin, and they were checking his teeth, and now hard to tell whether that's the knee. I think that's if they put him on, you know, they list the injuries of athletes, that might be you start at the top of the head and go down to the feet and just say anatomy. I mean, Hum has really taken a whacking.
George Anderson and Dr. Rosenfeld working to try and get things done. I guess George is waiting on the sideline for him, but
well, let's talk about Ray Guy then, because we're going to see him in this situation with 1:09 left in the half. Guy, who was a brilliant baseball pitcher in high school, he was drafted 4 times by major league teams. He can literally kneel on the 50-yard line and has the arm strength to throw the ball into the end zone. He can throw the ball as hard and as far as anyone. The matter is how much of the offense does he have at his fingertips, and he has to work it against the most unique defense in the NFL, perhaps. Well, it'll be Wilson.
I think what happened is that Mark Wilson came over and said, look, bad thumb or no bad thumb, put me back in there. And there he is. He's come back. You saw one of his teammates had to snap his helmet for him, his chin strap, because he can't use that thumb to pop it. Oh, well.
Boy, this is the NFL version of MASH.
This is a gut check. There's no question. This is time to check your courage.
Marcus Allen, he's the healthiest arm in the lineup, and he's going for Williams. We go back to the interception just to clean up some unfinished business for McMahon. He had gone 134 consecutive passes without an interception. He'd not coughed up one since the first game of the year.
Since the opening ball game. And of course, one of the reasons he went through a period of time when he simply couldn't throw the football. The Bears have had to depend on the running game, but perhaps that experience has helped him to become more selective in throwing the football. That's a very enviable record, and that's the kind of thing that coaches encourage out of a quarterback. Every one of those interceptions comes back to haunt you.
Well, let's see if Marcus rolls left and throws. 2nd and 10 from the Bear 45. Wilson. That ball fluttering and almost intercepted, and a flag is down. And boy, they got something going on the sidelines now. Apparently, McMahon, or rather Wilson, was hit after he threw the ball, and that brought out some rage from the men in white across the way.
Well, one thing I can tell you, that the Raiders are a team. If you come after theirs, you better be ready to go to war, because they're going to come back at you. Now, this game could get a little bit ugly. I wouldn't want to see that, but they were protecting their quarterback, Mark Wilson.
Yeah, I think the Bears have probably crossed the line now. They've injured 2 quarterbacks, and Singletary apparently was called for roughing the passer, and Haggerty and his crew are stepping in and marking off 15.
Let's take a peek at it. Mark is hiding behind the marker for a second, goes to the sideline, and there was a shot from Singletary, and let's give him a little credit. He is backing off after he hit Wilson, but the anger and the rage apparently directed at him as to why he needed to hit him to begin with.
Boy, I tell you, he can hit with anybody. Most penalties in the league, the Lions that honor. The Raiders and the Bears are right there 2nd and 3rd. So as expected, they're physical. They're 2 physical teams.
That's not a statistic you enjoy having applied to you.
That penalty puts the Raiders in long field goal range, and Wilson, obviously, he is bothered by that bad thumb. He just is not throwing the ball accurately. And of course, with Richard Dent breathing in your face mask and trying to find a receiver doesn't make it any easier.
One of the things we should mention again here is the fact that Kurt Marsh has gone into that lineup at left guard. That's a change because of an injury to Hannah. That breaks up the teamwork on that left-hand side of the line. And they've got Shelby Jordan now in place of Bruce Davis. So you've got two new guys on the left side of that line, and they've got all they can handle to try and keep those black-shirted Bears off the quarterback.
2nd and 10. Wilson, down he goes. Another sack, and this time it goes to number 90, Al Harris. The 5th of the game for the Bears. Timeout by the Raiders with 48 seconds.
Well, they're virtually on track with their 11-sack pace of last week. Mark Wilson trying to get outside. Marcus trying to control Harris, but Wilson ran right into him, and no way to protect him when your quarterback is going outside and you're trying to force the linebacker outside.
Harris, whose cousin is Ricky Bell, the former star at Southern California and Tampa Bay. And Mark Wilson and Tom Flores, a man who certainly can empathize with a quarterback's problems, a former passer, of course, with the Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. 40 seconds left. Now let's look ahead. Not only to halftime and the scores you'll get at NFL 84, you'll be able to see unbeaten Miami try to stretch its streak against the Jets in New York. Oh, that crowd will be ready to root the Jets to an upset. Kansas City and Seattle, two tough teams in the AFC West. New England, they're still part of the playoff picture against the 8-1 Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium, and Cincinnati. They've made some comeback. And, of course, San Francisco has lost but once themselves this year. So 4 outstanding late games on NBC.
Talking to Al Davis about the start of the 2 highly competitive teams he's looking at. Of course, the Broncos, who lead the AFC West, and Seattle, who just tied themselves with the Raiders. And, of course, Davis said, you know, we felt that if we could go 6-2 in our division, we could earn ourselves a playoff spot, maybe even have first place in our division. He said, I don't think anyone expected Denver and Seattle, especially after the injury to Warner, to play as well as they have during the early part of this season. And in fact, the Raiders looking up right now, certainly they lose this game. They are really behind the 8 ball.
That's right. They'd be 7-3, which would be an admirable record for most teams, but that might put them in 3rd place in their own division.
Not in the AFC West.
You saw number 87, Dave Casper, on the sidelines. He was activated for this game. Andy Parker put on the injured list, but we have not seen Casper yet. 3rd down, 16. Frank Hawkins, 30, and tackled at the 27-yard line. Todd Bell got him, and on 4th down, we may see Barr come in to try to put 3 points on the board for the Raiders.
Word from the Raiders sideline is that Hum's injury was a knee injury. They don't know how serious it is. We'll try and update you on that later on.
Hum, for the 3rd year, you know, after being cut, and they said that's been the pattern. I go home to Las Vegas, work, and wait for the call. I come back, and all he's had to do is really hold for extra points the previous 2, but forced into duty and really hammered, paid his dues today. It'll be about a 45-yard attempt by Chris Barr, who is 15 for 20 overall this year. As long as 50 yards, this one 45 yards. With the wind, he's got it.
And that's a big, big boost to the Raiders in this ball game. They know they're a second-half team. They do a good job of regrouping in that locker room. They're heading there now. I mean, they're trying to get there. There's some taking their wounded with them. Here's a shot from the end zone. A snap that was handled beautifully by Guy. It was a little bit low. Chris Barr getting it through the uprights.
There's an interesting point. The snap was handled by Ray Guy. So Guy, with all these injuries, and Hum was the holder. He and Wilson, before that one, Plunkett was healthy. So Guy now is the emergency holder as well. 14-3, the McElroy interception to the Bear 45. And Now Barr connecting officially, I guess at 44 yards officially. It was just inside the 45.
Dick looking up the scoreboard and looking at how the Bears have dominated this first half of play, and yet they only have 14 points. They only have an 11-point lead. Now, if the Raiders were healthy and had their offensive machinery intact, I would say that that's a pretty skimpy lead indeed. With the injuries, maybe a little bit heavier than that.
And you see, as we pointed out before, that the Raiders almost twice as many points in the second half this year, where the Bears about half as many in the second half. Now, statistics can lie. A lot of that is Bears running out the clock. And for the Raiders, though, it's been a fact that they really haven't clicked until the latter parts of games.
Last week in the win over the Minnesota Vikings, the Bears, frankly, were angry at their second half performance. They had the Vikings on the ropes, couldn't put them away.
Barr drills it deep. Dennis Gentry will not run it out. It's a wise choice. Don't want to risk a fumble on that kickoff return. One would expect McMahon to run out the clock in this situation. They tried to use the clock and add to the 14-0 lead, and that led to the interception, which finally produced 3 points for the Raiders.
We talk every year about the importance of keeping yourself healthy, staying healthy through a season, especially at your skilled positions. And it doesn't take much arithmetic and looking across the field at the Raider bench to sense how they have been devastated in that area today and what the earlier injury to Plunkett.
Suey. Alzado and Martin collaborate on the tackle after a short gain, if any. And with the injury situation, you don't expect Tom Flores to call timeout. That's going to be the last play of the first half. Walter Payton, a pair of touchdowns, 18 yards in the first quarter, 8 yards in the second. And Chris Barr, 44-yard field goal for the Raiders. But the injury story almost as important as the halftime totals.
Walter Payton, the man who put those 2 touchdowns on the board with the running game early. An outstanding first half for him, but still some football to play here, and it will be interesting to see how the Raiders play this second half.
The question is, will they have a healthy quarterback? It's 14-3 Bears at the intermission.
Weather's going to turn on you, do you? That's why Michelin developed the XA4 all-season tire. The XA4's as good in the snow as a snow tire, as good out of the snow as a great handling highway tire. And with proper care, its unique all-weather tread lasts up to 60,000 miles. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
One reason why Duracell batteries deliver such long-lasting power is because we're always improving them. In fact, today's Duracell batteries will last up to 20% longer than the ones we made just 3 years ago. And we'll keep on improving them through rain, snow, sleet, dead of night. Duracell, the copper top battery. When it comes to making them last longer, we never stop.
If you love sports, then we've got a November to remember.
Indy cars slice through the desert winds of Vegas. Boxing's challengers and contenders.
And golf's greatest foursome plays the skins game.
A November to remember is waiting for you on NBC Sports. America loves its sports, NBC style.
14-3. The Bears leading the Raiders Yeah, the injury problems for the Los Angeles Raiders. But I remember a game in the early 60s. John Unitas and Gary Cuozzo were injured for the Baltimore Colts, and they came into the Coliseum to play the Rams. We're going to eat them up without a quarterback.
Very embarrassing moment for a Ram defense. They put Tom Matty at quarterback. Famous game where he wrote the plays on a wristband, and he beat us. He beat us. So it doesn't always work. Sometimes what happens to a team is with those kind of injuries, you've got other people picking it up, and the defense rises to the occasion on the other side. Real test for the Raiders. Let's see how they do.
Well, Hum is out. Wilson may be able to play. We could see Ray Guy. We'll have NFL 84 after these words from your local station.
Tonight on Knight Rider, a sudden death showdown with Kit's evil twin.
Goodbye, Michael Knight.
Is this the end for Michael and Kit? Knight Rider. Then an NBC World movie premiere. Dynasty's Joan Collins. Knight Rider's David Hasselhoff. In danger. In love. In a Cartier affair. Tonight.
This is WTVO Rockford.
Today's woman. She's traditional. She's independent. She's professional. And when she needs confidential financial advice from an experienced woman helper who really understands her financial needs, she comes to the Woman's Financial Center at Illinois National.
We're the one. The helpers.
Got my first apartment and my first Zenith with a rebate. Pretty smart, huh?
$50 rebates on 25-inch Zenith System 3 consoles. $75 and $100 rebates on Advanced System 3, the smart sets.
I'm getting $100 back.
Get your factory rebate now, direct from Zenith.
Now I think I'll buy a chair.
Did you know Paul Simon believes you are undertaxed? That's right. He voted against the 25% tax cut and says he'll fight to reverse it. Simon supports plans to raise our taxes over $200 billion. That's over $2,000 for the average Illinois family. Why does he want all these new taxes? Not to balance the budget or reduce the deficit. He voted against both. Paul Simon wants more taxes to increase federal spending programs. If Paul Simon gets elected, keep your checkbook handy. Stick with Percy.
We welcome those of you watching the Raiders-Bears game. Bob Costas along with Bill McAtee at our NFL 84 studios in New York, and we'll get you updated on what's happening around the league. As you know, the Bears have that lead at halftime at Soldier Field by a score of 14-3 on a pair of Walter Payton touchdown runs, 18 and 8 yards. If you saw our pregame show, Ahmad Rashad told you about the intimidating defense of the Bears, and they have gone out and proven it today, knocking both Mark Wilson and David Hum out of the ballgame at various times, and they have recorded at last check 5 sacks to bring their league-leading total to 43. Dallas leads the Giants at halftime in Dallas 7-6. The Giants have not beaten the Cowboys twice in the same season since 1963. They own a victory over them already this year. Danny White was knocked out of that ball game for the Cowboys, a shoulder injury after being sacked by Leonard Marshall and Lawrence Taylor. His replacement, Gary Hogaboom, threw a 30-yard touchdown pass to Tony Hill for the 7-6 halftime lead. They are in the third quarter now at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. San Diego trying to rebound from their Monday night defeat against Seattle, taking it out on Frank Cush's team, leading it 17-7. They were up 7-0 when this play occurred. In the first quarter, Tim Fox intercepts Mark Herman, but he doesn't quite make it to the end zone. Stopped at the 1. The Colts held there. San Diego settled for a field goal and a 10-0 lead. Back came Herman, and this play to Raymond Butler covered 74 yards as he races down the sideline, and the Colts cut their deficit down to 10-7. However, Dan Fouts then took his turn to throw for 6. He'll find the veteran Charlie Joyner on this 7-yard play, and after the conversion by Ralph Bernushka, it was 17-7. That's where they stood at halftime, and they are now early in the third quarter. Detroit leads Philadelphia. They're in the third at the Silverdome, 17-13. Ron Jaworski has just hit Mike Quick with a 38-yard touchdown pass to bring the Eagles to within 4. Bill? All right, Bob. Well, Houston and Pittsburgh, since week 1, the Oilers have allowed 70% of the passes thrown on them to be completed. If you know that, it's not surprising the Oilers come in today at 0-9. Rain at Three Rivers. Chuck Noll has stayed with Mark Malone at quarterback, and he's thrown a couple of touchdown passes this early on. 1 of 2 today to John Stallworth. It covers 43 yards. It was 7-0 Pittsburgh. We move now to the second quarter. This time, Malone scores on the ground, off the bootleg, 13 yards. Nice block there by John Stallworth. 14-0 Pittsburgh. Malone hits Stallworth with another touchdown pass. 21-0 Pittsburgh at the half. Tampa Bay and Minnesota. When these teams met last month, the Buccaneers won 35-31. Vikings piled up a lot of offense, though. But today, Tampa Bay is on top, 14-10. James Wilder has scored both Tampa Bay touchdowns. Cleveland and Buffalo. A test for the faithful at Rich Stadium. Rainy and windy in Buffalo to watch two teams that between them have lost 16 straight. No scoring in the first quarter. Bills threatened in the second, but Joe Ferguson here is intercepted by number 37, Chris Rockings, in the end zone to stop a Buffalo drive. But the Bills did score. Only touchdown of the day. It came on a fumble by Paul McDonald as Chris Keating, the linebacker, picks it up and goes 34 yards for a touchdown. Matt Farr has two field goals for Cleveland. 7-6 Bills in the third quarter. And down in the Superdome, they've moved into the third quarter. Green Bay and New Orleans at 10-10. Okay, quickly now, we want to take you back to Rich Stadium in Buffalo and show you the wave. Sort of a unique wave. It's a two-man wave. But the folks in Buffalo still haven't lost their sense of humor. Bob.
Either a wave or they're watching Jack LaLanne on their portable.
Jane Fonda, right?
All right, good enough. And we'll continue with more NFL 84 halftime activities following these messages and a word from your local stations. Hello, Buffalo.
Today's cars do things yesterday's cars didn't.
Please fasten seatbelt.
Their smaller, higher revving engines can break down an oil's viscosity within 1,500 miles. The tests show Castrol suffers no significant breakdown of viscosity even after 5,000 miles. So listen to your car.
Exceeding recommended RPM.
It may be telling you something. Castrol, engineered for smaller cars.
Where are you hurting the most, Jimmy?
Name it. Let's straighten up.
Yeah, we don't want to disappoint your fans.
No.
Hey, Jimmy, good run.
You had him right from the gate.
Your best deserves the best.
Two Bud Lights.
The less filling light beer with a first name and taste.
Hey, Jimmy!
Right.
Bud Light.
When a businessman is waking up in, say, Los Angeles, his main office in New York is already well into its day. And very often there's information the main office would like men such as this to have the moment they come in. Well, now, through a modern computer innovation called telemail, they can send them that information and have them punch it right up the minute they arrive.
Gee.
No, GTE.
Tonight on Knight Rider, a sudden death showdown with Kit's evil twin.
Goodbye, Michael Knight.
Is this the end for Michael and Kit? Knight Rider, tonight.
This is WTVO Rockford.
Is Lace one dealership or two? Well, at Lace South, we sell and service Chevrolet cars and trucks, Pontiacs, Buicks, Oldsmobiles, and used vehicles. And at Lace East, we sell and service Chrysler and Plymouth cars. It sounds like two dealerships. But after 55 years, there's no way to split Lace in two. We're one family business, one tradition of friendly sales, and one dedication to responsible service. Lace just has 2 locations in Oregon to be one better.
As you know, this is a doubleheader Sunday on NBC Sports. There are 4 more games scheduled to be seen in various parts of the country, so while we have this opportunity, here's a preview. You'll see one of these 4 games later on NBC. And in the featured contest, Miami at the Jets. Now, Miami, as you know, is 9-0. They've also beaten the Jets 5 consecutive times, dating back to 1981. Dan Marino will be trying to pad his touchdown pass total, which already has reached 27. The Jets had a good first half, and Freeman McNeil was part of it a week ago in New England, but then they squandered a 20-3 lead and wound up losing. That means that the Patriots are 6-3 as they go to Mile High Stadium in Denver for their game today with the Broncos. This run by Craig James, a 25-yard touchdown, was part of New England's comeback in their victory against the Jets. Denver, meanwhile, stands alone atop the AFC West. Their defense forced 7 Raider turnovers a week ago, and the Broncos won in overtime at the Coliseum. The last time Denver won 8 games in a row, as a matter of fact, that's a club record, and this would be their 8th in a row if they win today. It goes back to their Super Bowl season of 1977. They had a 7-game winning streak to start that year after winning their last one the year before. How good do you think this year's edition of the Broncos are, Ahmad?
I think they've pretty well established themselves as a pretty good football team, but the pressure's on them because their season actually starts now. When you start off and show everybody in the country that you're a good football team, teams start to get ready for you. And the toughest thing in football is win the games that you're supposed to win. As far as New England's concerned, they celebrated last week because they got rid of Ron Meyer and everybody was happy and they went out and had something to play for. About Tuesday or Wednesday, it all went back to normal, and now they're just trying to win some football games.
Is it tough as a visiting player to perform at Mile High Stadium, or is that no factor, really?
It's tough initially. When you go out to the warm-ups and everything, it's something you have to adjust to. I'd say the toughest thing to deal with is actually weather, not really that high altitude.
And the report that we have is that weather today, at least, at Mile High Stadium, probably not later in the year, but today, no real factor as New England prepares to play the Denver Broncos. Okay, let's move over to Pete Axthelm. Miami and the Jets, as we can see, you're completely nonpartisan in your view of this contest, and may we have your deep and wise thoughts, please.
As you pointed out on the pregame show, Bob, I'm viewing this contest with the objectivity of Solomon. But, you know, thinking about Dan Marino, there's lots of things to say about him. I think back to when Affirmed won the Triple Crown with the 18-year-old jockey Steve Cawthon. And everyone was amazed that a teenager could be so cool, win the Triple Crown. And once his trainer, Laz Barrera, was asked about that, and in a flight of fancy, he says, you know, I don't think Steve is really 18 years old. I think he comes from another planet where he was really an old, experienced man. He just has the body of a teenager. I think when people ask about Dan Marino, you can really give them the same answer. And the Dolphins, truly, this year, are interplanetary.
When you say you have the perspective of Solomon, are you referring to Freddie Solomon of the San Francisco 49ers?
No, he doesn't have very good perspective at all, though. I'm much wiser than that, Bob.
You mentioned the Dolphins and their 9-0 record. Not only are they undefeated, they've only trailed once all season, and that was for about 1 minute and 10 seconds against the Washington Redskins in their opener.
Well, when they invented parity, it worked pretty well for a number of years. 3 teams this year have defeated parity. Houston and Buffalo on one end of the scale, the Dolphins on the other.
And we'll return with more NFL 84 halftime activities in just a moment, so stay with us. And we welcome you back to Soldier Field. We're ready for the second half. The Bears will get the ball first with a 14-3 lead, and they've been tough with the run and against it again.
Controlling on the line of scrimmage, and we said it would be a physical game. I don't think any of us anticipated the number of injuries we've had and the critical injuries. Second half, though, got to be careful. The Bears have dominated so thoroughly that they can't relax. They've got to keep themselves going, and the Raiders now have got to rebound. Biggest question of the second half, who are we going to see at quarterback?
Chris Barr to kick it off. He'll have the win. Well, the Raiders will have the win in this third quarter. Gentry at the goal line comes up to the 2. And he returns to the 20-yard line. And the first play, immediately we have a little scuffle. Jimmy Smith from Elon and Tony Caldwell, former Washington linebacker. The statistics, it's interesting, 67 total yards for the Raiders. Marcus Allen has 70, but because of the sacks, it works out that way. The turnovers 3-0, and the sacks, 5 sacks for the Bears.
5 for the Bears and none for the Raiders. We mentioned the domination at the line of scrimmage. So far, it's been a Bear domination. The big men in front, the guys wearing the black shirts here today, the Bears, have been the bad guys. They've done the job.
14-3, first play of the second half. And Walter Payton with the honors, coming back and gaining 6. Starting wide, seeing a little crack in the defense, and then using that tremendous acceleration. Combined yardage, this is starting today. James Wilder in first place. This is yards rushing and receiving. Oh, I understand this is through halftime now. Wilder still in first place as he was at the start of the day. Walter Payton, who was just 1 yard ahead of Allen, has now a 9-yard gap over Marcus Allen, the top 3 yardage eaters in the NFL. And 4. Payton. What is remarkable, Merlin, the fact that Walter Payton holds the ball in one hand so often, and most coaches would say you're going to fumble, but Payton rarely does, and I guess that's a tribute to his tremendous hand strength.
Certainly one of the things you don't think about is how important it is to be able to grip that football. A good running back very often will use that ball almost as a balancing device. And if you haven't got the ability to squeeze that football, you often lose it.
Look who's at quarterback, Steve
darned.
Fuller. So apparently McMahon, maybe when he was hit late in that first half, and Fuller was not thrown a pass in the last 2 years as the quarterback, Suey does not make the first down. So they try to hammer it up the middle on 3rd and 1.5 yards, and Howie Long, number 75 for the Raiders. And there's McMahon, and we have no word yet, but boy,
he is really hurting. Well, maybe the guys in black haven't done all the damage. I believe you're right that it was that shot by Piquel as McMahon ran upfield just before the half. It looked like he had the same kind of whiplash that took Mark Wilson down the first time.
So 3 quarterbacks with a question mark. Dave Fenzer to punt into the wind to Greg Pruitt back at the 32. Pruitt has some running room at the 34. But good coverage downfield by the Bears. Who was that first man there? He fought off 3 blockers. It was Leslie Frazier, number 21. 37-yard punt, 4-yard return. Dave Durson was also there. Bruised back is the report, and that we're just guessing now. That's where he was hit as he was scrambling upfield by Piquel. He didn't show any signs of injury at the time, but maybe that adrenaline wearing off at halftime, and now in trouble. Well, the quarterback for the Raiders, Wilson, certainly is a question mark with that bad hand. King and Allen. With him, Shelby Jordan, a new left tackle. Kurt Marsh, a new left guard. He started today. Injuries plus substitutions, and the Raiders with some new faces in that first unit. Kenny King breaking a tackle, gets a block, 40, 50, and he's to the Bear 48-yard line. A flag down. I believe we'll have a face mask. 14 yards for King plus the penalty. Leslie Frazier with the tackle.
Well, at the emotional level, counts for anything. There's no question that just looking down toward the sidelines, there's certainly a lot more emotion, a lot more energy on the Raiders sideline right at this moment than the Bears sideline. And McMahon has gone into the locker room, Dick.
Number 21.
Now Frazier will see if it's a 5-yard penalty.
5-yarder. But McMahon has gone into the locker room. He must really be hurting. So that puts a new dimension into this ballgame. Chance to watch this play from the sideline in too slow motion. We had it going.
Well, back to the live action. We'll see it after this play. There's Marcus Allen out to the 39-yard line of Chicago. A gain of about 3. Al Harris made the tackle. That sideline camera, and we can get a chance to look at it here. Here it is.
Dokie Williams getting down to block. Good run by King, but set up by good blocking by that left side of the line. Marsh and Shelby Jordan.
David Hum definitely will not return with a knee injury. Mark Wilson, they said earlier he wouldn't return, but forced into action, bad hand and all. Allen breaking tackles and fighting to the 35-yard line, where he's 2 yards short of a first down. Gary Fensick from Yale University and Mike Singletary of Baylor with a tackle. Fensick, number 45, an interception in the first half. And chronicled that he at Yale took a sportscasting class. This professor, Howard Cosell, he said, but my new hero is Al McGuire. I was his driver during the NCAA basketball tournament. I really learned something from the coach. 3rd and 2. Allen has a first down and more to the 29. So the Raiders come out running and effectively. Harris and Singletary with a stop.
I think the challenge was laid out in the Raider locker room, and the question was asked, are you going to let these guys bully you and beat up on you? Well, the answer apparently in the early going here is the Raiders have have decided to take charge of at least the offensive line of scrimmage, and they've gone right after the Bear defense.
Christensen lines up on the right side. Barnwell in motion. Fake reverse. Wilson. Not very well thrown. And the Bears fighting amongst themselves for that football. Way out of bounds. It'll be 2nd and 10 when we return. Let's check on another score.
All right, Dick, in the Hoosier Dome, John Turner has set up another San Diego touchdown. Turner returns this Mark Herman pass to the goal line. Wayne Morris took it in from the 1. It is 24-7. The Chargers are starting to open things up.
All right, Billy Mack, and of course, there's a team that said, well, they're so banged up, they're going to have trouble. Chargers are playing a fine game. Sometimes the wounded are the most dangerous. Kenny King. Oh, right into the arms of Steve McMichael, an All-American at Texas. Good, solid stop by McMichael.
Take a quick peek at the line of scrimmage. This is a regular 4-man alignment, just regular 4-man spacing, a 4-3. The Bears, one of the few teams still in the NFL to employ the 4-man spacing, and we showed you that unusual alignment that they used earlier. I think we'll look at that again a little later on, because the Bears are one of the most unique and difficult teams to prepare for in the NFL.
Passing down, 3rd down and 6. But they stay on the ground to Allen, and Allen draws a crowd, knocked down shy of the 1st down at the 22-yard line. Singletary spearheading the charge. Number 50, Todd Bell, was there also. And Barr's going to come in to try another field goal, apparently.
Dick, let's take a quick peek at the alignment of the special alignment of this Bear defense. The 3 linemen covering the nose of the tackles in the center, the 2 linebackers out here on the tight end, and the 1 weak side lineman on the far side. And again, 2 men very close to the line of scrimmage. One of those is safety. 8 men up. That's really an 8-man front. And you see how it's certainly effective here, although the Raiders have been running the ball very well so far in this half against that alignment.
40-yard field goal try by Chris Barr. And with the wind, is it good? Yes, he just hooked it inside that upright. Had it been another 5 yards, he'd have been wide left. But Barr is connected 2 for 2 from 44 and now from 40 yards. And that's how the second half opens. It's 14-6 Bears. 9:03 left in the quarter.
Nothing works like a Chevy truck. And when me and my friends want to relax, nothing works like a Chevy S10 Maxi Cab. So bring out the sun, bring out the fun. You got to go, get on and run.
Get yourself the 4x4 sport truck taken to the max with Instatrack 4-wheel drive and rugged off-road package available. Chevy S10 Maxi Cab.
Now that's what I call relaxation. Nothing works like a Chevy truck. Nothing.
AT&T is in paper, trucks, software. How? With a new program called AT&T Opportunity Calling for Business. It can help small business earn $1 credit on these and other name brand products for each $1 spent on AT&T long distance service. That's savings off the best price you can find. Our catalog is coming to your office. Look for it. AT&T Communications. We can help your business in ways you never thought of.
Today's game is brought to you by Today's Chevrolet. See Today's Chevy, drive Today's Chevy, live Today's Chevy. By Nikon, we take the world's greatest pictures. And by Duracell, the copper top battery. When it comes to making them last longer, we never stop.
In a game where the quarterbacks have become endangered species, it's 14-6. The Bears lead, and they're about to return the kickoff of Barr. Gentry in his own end zone. He's going to take it out. And he's hit down shy of the 15-yard line at the 13. So the Bears, without their number 1 quarterback, McMahon, neither team at this point starting today with any depth at that position. And the 2 starters, Wilson and McMahon, sidelined by injury. So it's Steve Fuller, who has not passed the ball in 2 years, at the helm for Chicago.
The Nikon FG is the 35mm camera sophisticated enough for the serious photographer.
Camera, pictures, human fun.
Yet switched to programmed, it's simple enough for total beginners. And it's so reasonably priced, it even makes a great gift.
Hey, Morty, look at this. Another brand new FG. Why do these Earthlings keep giving us their cameras?
This is today's Chevrolet, and this is today's Chevrolet. This Chevrolet is specially modified for the International Race of Champions. This is a new Camaro IROC Z28 built for you. Chevrolet encourages the use of selected parts and components by race teams, and that helped us build this Chevrolet. World champions drive this Camaro, but the Camaro IROC Z28 makes you feel like a champion.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy. Chevy.
Line, he does everything but put the points up on the scoreboard. Walter Payton, he was a cheerleader during that commercial, trying to get the crowd revved up, and left for a while as the Bear momentum stopped somewhat. It's 14-6 Chicago as they start from their 14-yard line. Suey in motion, and Payton running in that direction. Boy, just see him get that speed into high gear. Checking on how things developed in the first half for you, that in case you may have been late joining us today, the Bears took the lead early on an 18-yard run by Walter Payton. Then it was 14-0. Payton again from 8 yards. Just before the half, after an interception, Chris Barr connected on a 44-yard field goal. And early now in this third period, Barr again from 40 yards to make it 14-6. What we did not show you was the punishment that the quarterbacks have been taking in this game. McMahon left twice with injuries. His replacement, Hum, is left perhaps for the season with a knee injury. Check that Mark Wilson left twice with injuries, and McMahon now is out. Payton has a first down at the 30. Bill Piquel made the tackle. Oh, he is a defiant runner.
Dick, we took a look a moment ago at the 4-3 alignment and the special alignment of the Chicago Bears. The Raiders coming out of a 3-4 alignment. That's their standard configuration. You see them here, the two defensive ends and the nose tackle, 4 linebackers around the outside, the 2 safeties up very close to the line of scrimmage. That's the standard defensive alignment.
Payton now with 90 yards rushing, first down at the 30. Midway through the third quarter. Payton again. Just a couple this time. Bob Nelson made the stop. Let's talk about Steve Fuller a moment, the former number one draft pick from Kansas City. We'll get to that story. First to New York in this report.
All right, Dick, we'll talk about another quarterback. Mark Malone, who had 3 touchdown passes a week ago, has 3 more today. And for the third time, it goes to number 82, John Stallworth. Malone on the run, hits Stallworth. It covers 39 yards. And now it's 35-0 Pittsburgh as the Steelers have scored again on a fumble return.
All right, Bill, so the Steelers again winning big at home. The Bears trying to do the same here in Chicago. They lead 14-6. It's second down and 8. Fuller's first pass in a couple of years. And it's complete to the tight end, Emery Moorhead. He does not have the first down. He's at the 37. Lester Hayes made the tackle.
Tremendous heat applied to Fuller as Mike Davis had made the choice of rushing rather than covering. Usually the tight end is his man. He and Howie Long both pressuring Fuller, but Fuller able to get that pass off and get it completed.
And he did get the first down out to the 37-yard line. Moorhead's first catch of the game, only his 13th of the year. Fuller separated his shoulder in the preseason. He was with the Rams last year and never played. And we were talking about it yesterday, that just really hasn't been throwing well even in practice. Has not fully recovered from that shoulder separation. Good enough on that last one. He was good enough to toss it back to Payton, who's near the 100-yard mark as he rolls down at the 41. Brad Van Pelt made the tackle.
Big Kurt Becker, number 79, out in front of Payton, doing a good job of blocking. The Bears have really improved this offensive line, and offensive lines take a long time to gel, Dick. They have to work together and work together and work together to finally get that teamwork that will be effective.
Well, you see the comparison between Payton and Allen. It's a very young offensive line. Keith Van Horn, 4 years in the league, is the dean. Payton go on going for 100. He's got his 100 yards again as he stopped right at the yardsticks at the 47. Nelson again with the tackle. And another Raider slow getting up. 61st time that Payton over the 100-yard mark. 7 times this year. Checking on the injured Raider, and while they attend to him, 4:48 remaining in the third quarter. The Bears on the march and leading 14-6.
Dan, something for your desk.
Vice President.
You've earned it.
Today, Chevrolet has something for you, too. Discover Caprice Classic.
Now it's here, your reward. Just lean back, it's all yours.
Caprice, now even better with electronic fuel injection standard, plus traditional full-size comfort and prestige you've earned.
So this is today's Chevrolet.
You've earned it.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy.
Live it.
Chevy.
You know, if I'm playing a match on Wednesday, I take my Bic and shave down on this cheek. If it's a semifinal, I shave up. But if it's a month with an R, I take my Bic and go across. Except on Tuesday, of course, when I start on my chin. All this might give you the idea I'm superstitious. No way. It doesn't matter which Bic I use. Superstitious? Nah.
Superstitious or not, avoid all shavers with more than 3 letters.
We've got a November to remember with the return of the Skins game. Last year, Gary Player won $150,000 when he sank this putt.
There it is.
Nicholas, Palmer, Watson, and Player, the game's greatest foursome, plays the Skins game. America loves its sports, NBC style.
Well, it's a sign of age, advancing years. Merlin used to love these physical games. I'm catching you wincing more and more as you watch.
Dick, this is a day I'm glad I'm not down on that field. The crunching blows, this is probably as physical a game as I've ever seen. And I played in some tough games against these Bears. This team reminds me a lot of their '63 championship team that had such a great defense.
Their last championship 21 years ago. And they did under George Allen win it on defense. First down, and Fuller's second throw, a little dump off to Moorhead. And the tight end has his second catch on this drive and about 9 yards. So the pattern has been obvious under Steve Fuller. Give the ball to Payton, let him run, and if you have to pass, look for that tight end. And another injury, Bob. No, this is Brad Van Pelt.
The earlier injury was to McElroy, Van McElroy. He's gone to the sideline.
He's back in now, Merlin, just out to catch his breath.
Just had to catch his breath. Oh, they're going to need a hospital plane to get home from here.
Let's see how Van Pelt got squeezed. He appears to be okay.
Felt not very happy as he gets up off the ground. A chance to look at the running right here by Moorhead. Van Pelt coming in from behind, hit by his own man, and that happens often. Bob Nelson, number 51, trying to get to the receiver, went right to his own man. I think I was hurt, Dick, more often by my own players than I was by opposing players. They didn't want to hurt me, they just did it.
You know, back the Monsters of the Midway, which is one of the great tags in all of sports. Sid Luckman was the quarterback on that team, and it really began in 1940. Some New York writers said they're the Monsters of the Midway after the Bears beat the Redskins 73-0 in that incredible NFL championship game. Luckman's still a resident here in Chicago and still a hero. They do love their sports in this magnificent city. Ooh, and they love that man, Walter Payton, who fumbles, but he was already down. Pat Haggerty gets a bump on the side of the head as he was making the call. The ball is down, and he took a whack.
That got to be saying, listen, fellas, I was blowing my whistle. Let's kind of hold it down.
Ooh, he said, oh, now you know how the quarterback feels.
Not only physical game for the guys in the black and white uniforms, but the black and white stripes are getting their share of the action.
Elbow from McElroy got him.
Wow.
He's going to let the cobwebs clear. Did not make the first down. 3rd and 1. This time they keep Suey in the backfield. We'll see if they call Payton's number again or whether it'll be the heavier Suey. Payton, and he doesn't make it again. So the Raiders apparently are figuring with the injury to McMahon that they're going to rely more and more heavily on Payton, and they're really keying on the brilliant number 34.
Differences on the two sidelines. Ditka calling most of the plays. Ed Hughes, the offensive coordinator, but Mike calls most of the plays himself. And of course has called Sweetness's number many times today. He's done a great job, already over 100 yards, but on that play it was the Raider defense, and they've had a couple of crucial short yardage stops in this ball game. If they can take advantage of that stop, could turn the momentum back around again in this ball game.
2:40 remaining in the third quarter. Bears lead 14-6. Pincer to punt into the wind. And that one's going to go into the end zone. The Raiders take over at the 20-yard line. Well, a crucial opportunity for the Raiders, who have cut the Bears' lead from 14-0 down to 14-6.
Last year, Mercedes-Benz introduced the new 190 class to America. Each one has rewarded its driver with a new kind of performance. Each one an almost uncanny balance of power and handling and riding comfort. Each one a remarkable automobile, even by the standards of Mercedes-Benz. The Mercedes-Benz 190 class for 1985. Engineered like no other car in the world.
Senator Joyce Holmberg gets things done for the Rockford area.
2 years ago, I stood here and promised you that I would go to the Senate and fight for jobs, jobs, jobs. Since then, I have been able to bring home 700 jobs from $30 million in new construction. With my job retraining bill, 500 workers have been retrained. Almost 350 of those have been placed in new jobs. I need your vote to go back to Springfield and get more things for the Rockford area.
Re-elect Senator Joyce Holmberg. She's doing a good job.
Buddy Ryan is the proud author of that Bears unique defense. He had it with the Vikings, with the Jets. That's Hampton, who has not played in the second half in the towel. Hawkins gains 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
I asked Buddy last night, I said, would you rather be on the field or up in the press box? He said, I hate it in the press box. He said, I want to look into my players' eyes. You see him signaling the defense in. Very simple signals. Has an excellent rapport. He's really one of those gut-level guys. You like him when you talk to him, and he's done a great job with the defense there.
Hawkins and Allen behind Mark Wilson on 2nd and 6. Marcus Allen skipping to the outside and just shy of the first down at the 29. Fensick up there. He was shaken earlier, but okay.
Down by Fensick.
Dan Hampton with the towel around his head, and you don't take a chance with your best defensive lineman. He's so quick, so strong, has had leg injuries over the past couple of years, but has come back to be a major force this year, and that's an elbow injury that he has now. But with the lead and with the defensive line playing well without him, they haven't had to have him in.
Dave Casper, number 87, is in the lineup for the first time for the Raiders as they bookend the line on 3rd and short. And that's Derek Jensen in motion. Marcus Allen on second effort has the first down. They had appeared to stop him just shy of the 30. Allen twisting and over the pile for the first down. Casper wearing 87. That's a familiar digits on his back.
Quick look at Casper first, and this is something that he does extremely well. He's a fine blocking tight end. And here's the man with the second effort. Dick, you talked about it, and there he is, stopped, and you just see him. He refused to let them hold him down, twisted his body, and used his legs to get over that line.
Final minute, third quarter. Wilson to Williams, and he's hit immediately by Leslie Frazier. And Frazier was in a spot where he was tempted to go for the ball. He had a sure 6. And I think if we see that pass again, we might see Frazier take the chance.
One of the concerns you have when a quarterback has an injured hand, you've got to wonder at how much control Mark Wilson has. There's a good spiral on that ball, although if I were Dokie Williams, I might chat with him about the advisability of throwing it when I'm going to take a shot in the head like that one.
2nd down and 4. Might be the last play of the quarter. Hawkins dropped for a loss at the 36. Steve McMichael made the play. 8 seconds showing on the clock.
Tackle actually made by Don Mostbar, 72, who was trying to block, but got nailed out there.
And the gun, the end of the third quarter at Soldier Field in Chicago. It's been the Bears' day thus far. The score 14-6. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Tonight on Knight Rider, a sudden death showdown with Kit's evil twin.
Goodbye, Michael Knight.
Is this the end for Michael and Kit? Knight Rider. Then an NBC World movie premiere. Dynasty's Joan Collins. Knight Rider's David Hasselhoff. In danger. In love. In the Cartier affair. Tonight.
This is WTVO Rockford.
Compare Toyota trucks with any small truck. Nobody else has two-wheel drive sport trucks with electronic fuel injection. Not Chevy S10, not Ford Ranger, not Datsun. Toyota's 4x4s have more running ground clearance than S10 Ranger and Datsun. And this Toyota 4x4 costs almost $600 less than Datsun's. Get more truck for your buck. See your Toyota dealer now. Compare quality, value, and price. It's Toyota, not the other guys.
Planning a tour? Bus with us. Let the Peoria Rockford Charter Bus take you where the action is. Take your group and route for your favorite team. Call 963-3424 and ask Jim Johnson about our special group rates. Then forget the traffic and parking hassles and travel in air-cooled comfort aboard our bus. Don't forget our 13 daily round trips to O'Hare. It still costs just $8 each way. On the Peoria Rockford Bus, it's the #1 carrier for the airlines between Rockford and O'Hare.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. By NCR, who bring you a better personal computer. And by Bud Light, the less filling light beer with the first name in taste.
Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, welcome back to Soldier Field. First football game of the Bears, mid-1920s. Against the Chicago Cardinals here. Of course, they had 123,000 fans once for a USC Notre Dame game. 27, the home of Dempsey Tunney, on and on. 3rd and 5. First play of the fourth quarter, and it's batted down, incomplete. And we've got another little how do you do between Todd Bell and Todd Christensen. The Todds. No, the Bear defense, and Otis Wilson comes off holding the pit of his stomach.
Let's look at Otis Wilson. He's right in the center of your picture here. He's going to drive in on a delayed blitz, and it's Wilson who will bat that pass down. Watch him as he gets a chance to come in after the initial surge. Coming in behind, high in the air. Took the ball down, but had his legs cut out from underneath him by Frank Hawkins, and ooh, that hurts.
That was an example again of that 8-man front. They literally had 8 men right on the line of scrimmage. Jeff Fisher back at the Bear 20 as guy to kick. Uh-oh, what a terrific fielding job by
look at that kick. Whoa.
All the way to the 13. Fisher down at the 26. Ray Guy with those soft hands. Would he have been some shortstop? Fielding that ball deftly and getting away a 51-yard punt. The Bears have it at the 27.
Hot stuff coming through.
I'm hungry.
Me too.
I've had a thing all day.
May I suggest you try a personal computer? Are you one of my regular waiters? I'm Ralph. I like surprising people. With a computer? Uh-huh. Nice looking machine, sharp graphics.
I'm hungry.
Runs all the top software. Thousands of programs. Even talks to mainframes. Surprised? No, hungry. This is the NCR PC-4.
Oh, NCR, of course. They've been in computers for years.
You're not surprised? Nope. How about you? Are you surprised? Nope. He's not surprised. How about you?
I'll have the turkey croquette.
No! Are you surprised?
NCR is one of the largest computer companies in the world.
Eat your broccoli.
Could I order?
I know, the turkey croquette.
So, the NCR personal computer. Surprised?
Yes.
I'll take one, too.
You too? Me too. You too? I'm so proud of you. Friend.
A better computer. It's exactly what you'd expect from NCR.
America's favorite pastime is on NBC as the nation's top rollers battle for the title of Bowler of the Year. Something different, something special. A November to remember is waiting for you on the PBA Fall Tour next Saturday on NBC.
See the back behind Ray Guy of Cliff Branch. He did not play again today, nor did he last week with a groin pull. They've missed his services. The Bears have it at the 27. Steve Fuller for the injured starter Jim McMahon. Little fake and a throw to Payton. And a good open field tackle. See, that was a nice tackle by Van McElroy. Let's check the other scores in the NFL. We've turned the corner. Now the 10th week of the season. The Giants have taken the lead at Dallas. Third quarter, 13-7 Giants. San Diego leads at Indianapolis 24-10. Most of these will all be in the fourth quarter now. 20-all Philadelphia at Detroit. 35-0 Pittsburgh romping against Houston. 17-14 Minnesota leads Tampa Bay. 10-6 Buffalo with a lead against Cleveland. And the final, Green Bay 20, New Orleans 10 in the third quarter. And here it's 14-6. Second and 8. Fuller comes out throwing again. Or is he going to run it? Dives to the 33, short of the first down. Gain of 4. By the way, John Stallworth with 3 touchdown catches today for the Steelers has tied Lynn Swann's Pittsburgh career record. 51 catches for touchdowns now for Stallworth to tie his former teammate Swann.
Exciting to see him back and running at full speed, and Malone coming on strong as a quarterback there for Chuck Noll.
Indeed. Fuller now 3 for 3 passing, using those little short passes, and now looks at third down at about 3.5.
Dick, another injury. We saw Otis McKinney head to the sideline a little earlier, and that's going to, although he's in there now, he's back in there. He's back in the defense. He's a very important cog.
Payton has the first down at the 39. McKinney made the defensive play.
Bob Zeman pulling out the stops on the Raiders sideline. They know they need a big play. They came with the all-out blitz. McKinney soloed up on Payton. Payton able to get his hands on the football and get enough yardage to pull the first down.
You talk about the qualities that make the superb, the outstanding athlete, Walter Payton. He has the quickness and the speed and the strength, but he also has that quality of determination. He is self-made. He's worked hard. He trains as hard as anyone. His tremendous physical strength and endurance are a credit to his talent, and great example. Calvin Thomas gets the call, and he's out to the 44-yard line. Thomas, former Fighting Illini down the road, a free agent pick in 80. Van McElroy makes the tackle.
Ditka moving some bodies into the field. And in a game like this, and there were you could sense the emotional level of these Bears. They really had pointed toward this game as being very important to them. And sometimes in a game like that, you wear yourself out as much emotionally as you do physically.
Time. That's what the Bears are trying to chew up. 12:25 remaining in the fourth quarter. They lead by 8. Thomas again. Nelson made the tackle at the 46. That'll be short of the first down by a couple.
The blocker on that play, number 34, Walter Payton. He does it all. Not afraid to stick his nose in there and lead as a blocker as well as a rusher and a pass catcher. Chance to watch him here. Well, not the greatest block in the world, but did keep Rod Martin from making the tackle.
Threw his body in there. Payton has said, you know, I'd love to play defense. I just like hitting so much.
He does enough of that, believe me.
3rd and 2.
Big down.
Thomas, first down to the Raider 49, and it was Payton leading him through the hole.
We saw a not so great block by Payton on the last one, but he really nailed it here. Let's look at how it will appear going full speed. We usually show you the results at half speed, but boy, he just ducked his shoulder and his head up in there and buried himself in the body of one of those white-shirted Raiders. It looked to me like it was Piquel, number 71, that he was helping to block on that play. I got to believe that Piquel is getting tired. He doesn't usually have to play the whole game. With Kinlaw out of the lineup, he's had to go the whole way today.
And the clock runs. 4 more downs for the Bears. Less than 11 minutes remaining. This is Thomas. And he's brought brought down Van McElroy. He's right up there among the leaders in open field tackling. Oh, he gets his sights set. He very rarely misses.
Bears leading a lot of their plays with their big offensive tackles. Something you didn't see too often in the history of the NFL, but offensive and defensive people getting more creative all the time, using a lot of different combinations. It used to be that somebody came from a strange direction and blocked you to gather them up in the huddle, get their number, say, where did you come from? But today, they come from everywhere.
Calvin Thomas has carried the ball 4 straight times. 2nd and 7. Little inside handoff to Thomas. He gets the number again. And he has a first down at the 37-yard line. So 5 calls in a row go to Calvin Thomas, who had gained only 68 yards all year.
That's the value of a Walter Payton as a decoy. You can't take your eyes off Payton. You know he's the prime man in that backfield. And when you concentrate a little too hard on Walter Payton, he's going the other direction. He's got the defense thinking about him. And Calvin Thomas goes back the other way and picks up the yardage.
And the clock runs. 9:27 left in the 4th quarter. 14-6 Bears. Receiver.
Fuller's saying, hey, I can't throw the ball any better than that. Timing just was not there, and that's what happens when you insert a quarterback who has not played a great deal. But he did throw the ball very perfectly to Fuller, unfortunately, or to Moorhead. Unfortunately, was not looking at his quarterback.
Steve Fuller, one of 3 members of this Bear roster that were Rhodes Scholar candidates. There's a lot of academic All-Americans on this Bear roster. 31-10 San Diego building its lead. 35-7 Pittsburgh still well in command, and 17 all Tampa Bay, Minnesota. 2nd and 10. Fuller, a lot of pressure, and down he goes. Howie Long was there first, and the ball down after the tackle. Nelson was there as well. That's the first
sack of the day for Long, and the first sack for this Raider defense. It couldn't come at a better time. Moves the Bears offense way back just inside the 50-yard line. Payton as a blocker, well, missed one. And again, you see what can happen when you miss the blitz. Your quarterback is going to be awfully sore the day after the game.
Well, that Ahmad Rashad piece talking about how he felt after playing the Bears, how appropriate that commentary was. Both these teams. I guess the way to schedule the Bears and Raiders is wait till they play each other and hope you get them the next week. And they're still in the whirlpool. Timeout called by Steve Fuller with 8:53. That's a timeout Ditka did not want to spend with the clock running in his favor. The Bears have an 8-point lead.
I just got a sporty truck priced like some base trucks. The Mazda B2000 SE5. Look, it comes standard with a 5-speed, radials and spoker wheels, sporty stripes, step bumper, and dual sport mirrors. Pretty sporty for just $59.95.
Sakes alive.
Mazda SE5.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. Bud Light. Hold this, will you?
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light!
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Strike.
Well, it isn't often we get into Chicago, and we've certainly enjoyed this game, the first half of our doubleheader, and we know you'll delight in your choice of these 4. Miami and the Jets. The Dolphins trying to keep that winning streak alive. Kansas City will be at Seattle. Denver protecting its 8-1 record against New England. They're 6-3. And the Bengals improved against the 8-1 49ers. Those are the games that will follow our action here from Chicago. 3rd down. First really long yardage for the Bears today. 3rd and about 20, and Fuller going to run it. 40, and he gets gets down just in time at the 35, short of the first down, and almost in field goal range with the wind. It's been changing, but basically will not hurt a field goal attempt. 13-yard scramble by Fuller. Flag is down.
Looked like something, flag dropped on the sideline.
Well, I guess there was no flag.
No flag.
Accidental dropping of the yellow.
We haven't had many penalties today. An interesting game. The one thing that I'm looking down at the Bear bench. I'm looking for their number 3 quarterback. There he is. Oh no, that's not him. No, that's not Rusty. But if I were Rusty, I don't know if I'd want to get into this ball game. Might shorten your career.
I know I wouldn't want to. Finzer at the 50 with Pruitt at the 10. I'll try to pooch this one downfield. But using as much of the clock as he can. So obviously Ditka said, let's take every second we can. The 30-second clock, very slow in starting, is only at 11 right now.
And Dick, this is a place where I'd like to see you be able to go for 2 points on the extra point. Fortunately, we can't do that in the NFL.
Looks like a good kick. It is a good kick. Out of bounds at the 6-yard line for Dave Finzer. It's been a very rough physical game, but you would not know that if you picked up the paper and looked at the penalties. Only 1 for 5 for the Raiders and 3 for 35 for the Bears.
Well, they've been on their best behavior all day long, but the bruising and the hitting has been all world.
This, you know, this you have never seen before because I just made it up. The sweeter cola machine. Pepsi, RC, like CNC. Where's Coke? Coke does not live in that neighborhood because Coke is sweetened less than all of those. Now, what does that mean to me? Less sweet means more thirst quenching, more refreshing, more real cola taste, better with food, better when I'm really hot, better play the music because this is going to take a while. Coke is it. Thank you. Bolder, cleaner, smarter, more delicioso.
Sakes alive, sakes alive. Only Monster's got a sporty truck for just $59.95.
I just got a sporty truck priced like some base trucks. The Mazda V2000 SE5. Look, it comes standard with a 5-speed, radials and spoker wheels, sporty stripes, step bumper, and dual sport mirrors. Pretty sporty for just $59.95.
Sakes alive.
Mazda SE5. A November to remember, Denver. The Broncos' road to the playoffs runs through San Diego, where Denver hasn't won since '80. A November to remember, San Diego. The biggest challenge in Dan Fouts' stellar career remains a quest for the championship. The Broncos battle the Chargers. The NFL plays here.
My team plays here.
The Bear running game, the key. 11 more plays, and they just had the ball for 7 minutes, 18 seconds. Did not score, but of course the Raiders, trailing, didn't have the pumpkin, and now finally get it at their own 6-yard line. Mark Wilson with a bad hand thumb from his own end zone. Going long and has a man. Doki Williams a step short. That ball thrown well.
Mark able to get that ball downfield a long ways, and Doki making a super effort, lunging and leaping to try and get out, has great speed. Mark, of course, the numbers reflect the injury that has kept him from being effective. Injured twice, really, in this game. The first time the whiplash, the second time the injury to the throwing hand, the thumb.
21 yards passing for Mark Wilson on the day. Crowd trying to help the Bear defense. Williams left, Barnwell to the right. Again from the end zone. To Williams again, and he's got it. And a saving tackle by Frazier as Wilson now down deep in the end zone after a 31-yard pass, and he's hurt. Or is he just, he can't get himself extricated from Richard Dent?
I think what happened is Dent's helmet was caught on Wilson's jersey or his Something. Let's look at it. They were locked up back on the goal line or back in the end zone at the end of it.
This is a sticky Bear defense.
Yes, it is. Wilson getting hit as he delivered the ball. And again, Dokie Williams, with his speed, had driven the corner off. Gotten him back a little bit. Frazier giving him room because Frazier does not have the speed of a corner. Really more of a safety than a cornerback.
So that throw gets the Raiders out of the hole. Clock shows 7 minutes exactly left. 14-6 Bears. Marcus Allen gets only a couple to the 38-yard line. And in case you had missed the Bears throughout the course of this year and you heard about the Bears' tough defense against the run, now you know. Now you know why they're far and away the best in the NFL against the run.
You had your control of scheduling. Wouldn't it be nice to come in and play a team after the Bears and the Raiders had had a chance to play against them? Ooh.
The Rams meet the Bears next week in Anaheim. Wilson, a ton of time, and it's intercepted. Frazier. Leslie Frazier has his 6th of the year, the 2nd today. A flag is down. Hold on, we have a flag back where Wilson threw the ball.
And we should have another flag. Marcus Allen was clipped on the play by Singletary. No flag on that one. We may have a penalty, may have 2 penalties, may have even more than that by the time we're through here. Marcus just absolutely furious, and I don't blame him. That was a cheap shot.
Going to try to untangle it. The official saying to the Raiders, we really don't need your help.
Personal fouls before the interception. 95 on defense, 74 on the offense. Play it over.
So Richard Dent of the Bears and Shelby Jordan of the Raiders in a personal foul duel that negates the play.
If we had the end of that play, you'll see the shot on Marcus Allen that had him so angry. Maybe we can dig that back, perhaps not after this play, but maybe after the next one. But this game, as few penalties as we've had at this point, it may get a little ugly here if things continue at the pace they're on now. You're looking at Shelby Jordan. Here's the end of that play. There's Marcus right at the top of your picture, and you see the shot from behind, right on Marcus's knee. And it looked like Singletary trying to get his head in front.
Otis Wilson.
Otis Wilson, excuse me. Let me get the right guy. I don't want to put a stick on the wrong man. You're right, 55.
Well, they'll play it over again, and this is Todd Christensen pulling his way out across the 45-yard line, close to a first down. Gary Fensick made the tackle. 6 minutes and the clock running. Left in this 4th quarter, 14-6. The Bears build up a 14-0 lead on a pair of Payton touchdowns. A couple of field goals by Barr, the only answer for the Raiders. A very physical, rough encounter here at Soldier Field. 3rd and 1 for the Raiders. Minnesota has regained the lead against Tampa Bay in the 4th quarter. Marcus Allen wants to throw, looking for Todd Christensen. He's got it at the 17-yard line, despite the fact that the Bear defender right there had his hand, might even have deflected it, and Christensen had the presence to watch that one into those big mitts of his.
Todd Christensen has wonderful hands and great concentration. Does not have particularly quick feet. He also benefits from a special ability of Marcus Allen. Throwing ability. Look, while this pass has to be thrown perfectly. Drops right in over the outstretched hands right there. The linebacker there. Fensick is there. Christensen still made the catch, but what a wonderful throw.
Allen now is 1 for 3 passing this year, but one of those was a drop for a touchdown in the opening game against Houston. So the Raiders, driving from their own 6-yard line, have a first down at the Bears 17. Wilson. Christensen was open. That was a sure touchdown.
And after making such a difficult catch, it looked like that ball was catchable. Let you make your own choice as you see Christensen one-on-one coming right into your living room. Just a little late coming around. Looked like that ball got there before he anticipated the throw. Wasn't able to get set for it.
4:38 left. Mike Ditka's Bears in control 14-6. But the Raiders putting on some late pressure. Fumble and recovered by Richard Dent.
Things happening on that play. Dent had been driven past the quarterback, came from the blind side. Wilson wanted to have Malcolm Barnwell break open. There's the shot. Shelby Jordan right at the top, fighting to keep Dent away from the quarterback. He comes from the backside, and with that injured thumb, there was no way that Mark could hang on to that football.
Dent forced the fumble, recovered the ball, and the Bears defense has the ball again for Chicago.
When you first see the Mazda RX-7, you begin to understand why it has become a legend among today's sports cars. Because beyond its classic styling, you soon discover the sheer perfection of its bucket seats. You experience its comprehensive instrumentation and feel the preciseness of its 5-speed. These things alone help make it an exceptional value. But to gain an even deeper understanding of the RX-7, you're going to have to experience roads like these for yourself. Mazda RX-7. Experience it.
Halogen, a light so bright, so white, no ordinary light can match it. Introducing the Energizer Halogen Flashlight, up to 300% more light than ordinary flashlights. And it's Energizer Rugged, even waterproof. The Energizer Halogen Flashlight, so bright, so incredibly bright, it outshines ordinary flashlights. Up to 300% brighter. New from Energizer.
He is the son of Seattle Slew and racing's first fall Triple Crown winner. Slew of Gold is John Henry's only serious competition for Horse of the Year. Slew of Gold and racing's living legend John Henry now face their greatest challenge, the Breeders' Cup on NBC.
When they announced the entries in New York earlier this week, Angel Cordero said, I have 6 mounts of the 7 races. He said, I'm wide open for one of those $1 million opportunities. Well, what a special day that's going to be. 4 hours live television from Hollywood Park. The Breeders' Cup, $10 million at stake. John Henry, apparently, the latest word is that he's healthy enough, will indeed be able to run in the $2 million turf race. The Bears' 4th turnover. That's 11 times the Raiders have lost the ball in the last 2 games. Walter Payton drives it to the 28. Walter Payton. He's only 30 years of age, 10th year in the league. He was only 20 when he graduated from Jackson State. He has the #1 draft pick, finished his schoolwork in 3.5 years. I mean, you talk about the All-American kid. What doesn't he do well?
You'd rarely find a player as respected by his teammates as Payton, too. They really appreciate the fact that he doesn't take advantage of his status as a superstar. He's a very gracious and humble young man.
Oh, there's the fumble the other way. And the Raiders, Rosado can't come up with it. It goes out of bounds. The Bears have the ball. The Raiders never had control.
You've got to get possession of a fumble. If you don't get possession of it, it's the last team that had possession that will retain it. And you see the official signaling downfield, and it looked like Alzado had made the choice to control the football, not to try and pick it up and run. Here's a chance to see it. There's the hit right there. The ball stripped away, stripped from Suey, and Alzado looked like he had it, but as he rolled, the body just bounced it out, and there, touched again by a Raider, but no one controlling it before it rolled out of bounds.
Yeah, when they made the ball oblong, they certainly built in all that added drama and confusion. And in this case, a little heartbreak for the Raiders, who have not had the ball bounce their way at all today. The Bears certainly have gotten the bounces, and there was another case in point. 3rd down and 3. Ooh. Payton taking a whack at the 31-yard line. That's not to say the Bears haven't forced a lot of those bounces with their hard play. Other scores, 16-7, the Giants open up their lead against the Cowboys. Philadelphia trailing at Detroit late, 23-20. 13-10, Cleveland takes the lead against Buffalo. The Bills still in search of their first win, had the lead. And Green Bay by 7 at New Orleans in the fourth quarter. Stay with us. Of course, NFL 84 will bring you up to date on all the scores and all of the second half action of our doubleheader. And we've got some great games to follow this one. 3 minutes exactly. And again, Pins are letting that 30-second clock run down. It's only at 16 right now. Boy, that was certainly a late start of the clock, wasn't it?
I'm sure for the Bears, the clock is running very slowly, but for the Raiders, it is flying, and time is running out.
Great kick by Penzer. Look at Pruitt. Oh, and there's the problem that Pruitt's been having. Able to recover his own muff and then step out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. But that big play by Richard Dent that denied the Raiders when they were deep downfield may be the difference. Only 2:31 left, and the Raiders start from inside their 25.
We looked at a lot of sport trucks, but we bought the lowest priced one in America, Mazda's new V2000 Sport LE. And while it's nice to know it comes standard with sporty two-tone paint, radials with spoker wheels, chrome bumpers, bucket seats, and a 5-speed, it's even nicer to know it's priced over $1,300 less than Nissan's or Toyota sport trucks.
Sakes alive, sakes alive, sakes alive. Only Mazda's got a sport truck for just $67.95. Sakes alive.
Is this real? Memorex audio tape and Memorex videotape. You'll forever wonder, is it live or is it Memorex?
2 minutes, 31 seconds left, and the Bears have an 8-point lead. We saw a rather angry Mark Wilson, who usually has his temper well in control.
Well, he does, and raised in a strict Mormon background, his language, he's very careful about his language. Bobby Chandler told me that when he was with the Raiders, and in order to talk to some of those other players, he needed to use stronger language, so he had to use a designated cusser. Well, I think he may have needed one a few times today, Dick.
Wilson going for Christensen. Almost intercepted again. Fensick was right there. Fensick, who has one today to move ahead of Benny McRae into the number 2 spot all time in Bears history. Richie Pettibone with 39, the assistant at Washington, has the all-time Bear record. Miami and the Jets, Kansas City, Seattle, Denver hosts New England, and Cincinnati meets the challenge of San Francisco. Those are the games that will follow here on NBC. Terrific doubleheader today. And what a beautiful day in Chicago for this Bear Raider game. Tied again, the Phillies and the Detroits, 23 all, fourth quarter. On 2nd and 10. Wilson, down he goes. Singletary and Wilson. They had 11 sacks last week and 7 more today. 18 in 2 games.
Buddy Ryan's defense is a feast or famine kind of defense. 8 men up front, an all-out blitz, and everybody is coming. Otis Wilson right there, Singletary, number 50. They've thrown everyone. They can't cover all the receivers, but it's hard to find the receivers when you're running for your life, and that's what they count on with that aggressive defense.
Raiders trying to get the ball off before the 2-minute mark, but they won't. There it is. 2 minutes remaining in this game at Soldier Field, and these Bear fans who are hungry. It's been 21 years since a championship. Smell victory against the defending champions as we go to another fantastic finish.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes, 1983. Baltimore's Raul Alegre is jubilant over his game-tying field goal against the Patriots. Moments later in overtime, Steve Grogan pitches out to Tony Collins, who is hit and stripped of the football by Vernon Maxwell. Baltimore's Johnny Goods gobbles up the bouncing ball on the dead run and lumbers 52 yards to victory. Frank Bush's prayers have been answered.
Jeffrey, helping Mother today was a good idea.
I certainly agree.
Please put these used cans in the big barrel. The big barrel, Jeffrey, the one for recycling.
Why?
Because aluminum cans are valuable. They can be recycled and made into brand new cans.
Why?
Because we've got to learn to use good things more than once.
I certainly agree.
Recycle. Buy beverages in aluminum cans and recycle.
2 minutes to go. And the Raiders at their own 15-yard line with 3rd down and about 17, trailing the Bears 14-6. Wilson playing with a painful thumb injury, but throws that one well to Christensen, who is out of bounds at the 25. Boy, they keep the clock running on that. He rolled out of bounds, but they have the clock running at 1:48, and now
they're saying he was out of bounds. Dick, looking at Mark Wilson, at the kind of heat, the kind of pressure he has taken today, no question in my mind that playing quarterback tests a man's courage about as well as any position on the field. When you've got to stand there knowing that you're going to get leveled, stand there knowing that you're going to have one of those linebackers' helmets in your ribs, and you can still stay there and deliver the ball on target, I admire you.
And we've seen that today on both sides. McMahon on a scramble has been injured. David Humm, the replacement of Wilson, forced out of the game with a knee injury. And you've got to wait that split second for your receiver to break open, and that's the moment you know you're going to take it. They're going to give 4 seconds back on the clock. The official ruling the ball was in bounds, but there had been no contact by a defender, so when he rolled out of bounds, he stopped the clock. But for the Raiders, that's the only good news. They trail by 8, and it's still 4th down and 7. So they have to make up 7 or give up the ball.
Now they need a small miracle here. Actually, 2 small miracles, enough to get a touchdown and then a field goal, get them back in the game. I'll say it again, I kind of wish the NFL would instate the 2-point conversion rule. Then we could have even more fun.
I'd vote for you.
Why don't we write a letter?
4th and 7. Or give up the ball.
Look out.
The Bears have it again. Hartenstein, 73, led the charge. The 8th sack for the Bears today. They take over on downs, and they're celebrating in Chicago.
If you're back against the wall, when you have to throw the football, it's awfully difficult to keep those defensive linemen, linebackers, they're all coming. They know what you have to do, and they'll take advantage of it.
Well, the Bears wanted very much to measure themselves because some doubted. Well, the Bears were 6-3, but they really, most of their losses to the good teams. They hadn't really proven they could beat the outstanding teams, and this would be a test. And they have measured up, and it's been the defense that has brought them the victory. Suey to the 15. We want to thank our executive producer, Michael Weissman, coordinating producer, Ted Nathanson. Our game today was produced by Larry Cirillo and directed by Ted Nathanson, technical director Bruce Berquist, associate director Dave Hoffman, associate producer Jeff Himes, and in the booth, Joe Costanza's company of John Englart, Gil Haggart, Dave Aldrich, Terry Kane. Thank you all, men and women here with NBC coverage of this crucial. We could all feel the camera shaking from the action today.
Singletary, Dent, Wilson have had such an impact on this performance today. It has been a brilliant defensive game for Buddy Ryan's defense, and the Bears started this game with the thought of seeing how they measured up to the world champions. Certainly as they finish this game, there will be others who will want to measure themselves against the Chicago Bears.
14-6, and it's been a Bear pattern throughout the year. They've gotten the early lead and a big early lead. Haven't scored much in the second half. Haven't needed to. Some of the injuries. Branch did not play at all today. Had not last week. David Hum perhaps out for a few weeks with that knee injury. Kinlaw didn't play today. Millen didn't play today. Plunkett didn't play today. And Wilson was in and out. And one will wonder how that thumb will be going into next week's game. Meanwhile, the Bears have lost Dan Hampton and Jim McMahon, two critical players in their attack.
Perhaps the most important two players on their team.
Well, Walter Payton.
Well, beyond Walter Payton. Excuse me.
He's in his own world.
He's in his own class.
They're going to send him to a higher league. 128, and the Raiders used their last time out. I believe that's their last.
I can tell you from experience, Dick, that even though that injury list has about 8 names on it, that if you go down and check along the bench and check tomorrow, you'll find guys hurt tomorrow who thought they were all right after this game. The hitting has been so vicious on the field today and so consistent that there are injuries that you just can't believe.
Don't wander away. NFL 84 will bring you up to date on the early games today, and then to your delight, there's one of the 4 outstanding games waiting for you. Miami and the Jets, the Chiefs or Seahawks, New England at Denver, and Cincinnati at San Francisco to follow this telecast from Chicago. This side of the force, dark side of the force, has entered the Temple of Doom. Go Bears. Well, it's been a nice day, but a gloomy afternoon for the Raiders.
I think the tough thing now is beginning to regroup and to ask the question, how many able bodies will we have for next week's game? And I'm sure that's what's going through Tom Flores' mind right now, is regrouping and putting a team back on the field next week. They have just been devastated.
You get the Kansas City Chiefs, another physical team in the Coliseum. Suey just protecting the football, and the Raiders exercise their final timeout.
In fact, the Raiders have caught 2 teams coming off 11 sack performances. The last time they played Kansas City had just sacked quarterbacks 11 times against Cleveland the week before and continued to sack quarterbacks in that game. And they're just catching hot defenses, it seems, although they did win that game against Kansas City.
We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
You're watching Channel 17, WTVO Rockford.
Well, as we look at his sweetness, Walter Payton, let's go back to quarterbacks. So we've said it so many times that they get too much credit, things go well, and too much blame when it doesn't. But there is no question about how tremendously important they are. You lose your starting quarterback, and the whole game changes for you.
Mark Wilson may have trouble doing some ordinary things like just buckling belts and so forth with that thumb, although the tape has come off the thumb. And there's no question, Dick, that man, the quarterback, starting quarterback, has more impact on the performance of his team than any other player on the field, no matter how great he is, because he initiates the action on every offensive play. And if a quarterback has a great day, it reflects in better play from all the other people on that offense.
Some frosting by Bob Thomas. This is an interesting choice by Ditka. And he hits it through. We say interesting because some coaches might not kick the field goal for fear a block could lead to a very quick score by the opposition. But instead, it's 3 more and a 17-6 lead. Thomas, who broke George Blanda's Bears scoring record earlier this year, adds 3 more to his mark.
You've got to believe that Mike Ditka has a lot of good feelings running through his mind and his body right now. Very happy coach, very emotional coach. Quite a contrast to the rather placid Tom Flores on the other side, but there have got to be some very painful emotions running through his mind right now.
First back-to-back losses suffered by the Raiders since '81, when it was the Bears again and the San Diego Chargers who beat them late in the season. That was that 7-9 year for the Raiders after they had come off the Super Bowl win in New Orleans.
And there's Buddy Ryan. He's got to... No, it's interesting. He and Ditka have not seen eye to eye here early on anyway. He was not Ditka's choice. Hallis brought Ryan back and installed him as a defensive coordinator. And one of the conditions that Mike had to accept, that Ditka had to accept when he came back, was having Buddy Ryan as his defensive coordinator.
What was that quote about defensive linemen? He says, I don't like those guys with the blow dryers. I like the kind that comes in your office and hair all ruffled and don't shower and spit on the floor.
Oh, he didn't say don't shower. Come on. He just said they don't comb their hair.
I wasn't personal. Don't take it so personally.
Sure. Go ahead and attack the defensive lineman.
Thomas sports it out of bounds. off the clock. It remains at 1:21 and a 5-yard penalty imposed. Well, you know, this Chicago town so hungry for a team to cheer. Their various franchises have been disappointing through decades now, and with the Cubs resurgence, the White Sox last year, there's really a flush on the bloom, and now the Bears obviously have an outstanding team. They are, people I think now can relax and say, yes, we do have a playoff team in the Bears here in Chicago, and it's nice for these fans how well they've supported their teams in a lot of lengthy losing seasons.
It certainly is, and it's also a reflection, Vic, of how important the emotional side of the game is. A lot of times it's not just the talent that you have and not the scheme, it's the execution, and much of that is mental and emotional, not physical.
And you see, although the flags are down now, the wind has shifted and now blowing more from the north. Yeah, Ditka, you know, it started late last year. They were 5-1 to close out the season. Derek Jensen, one of the up men, and he's hammered at the 40-yard line. 1:16 left, and the Raiders without timeout will have a final chance to get something. Finals, the Chargers, many thought that they'd stumble. They did not, and they hammer Indianapolis 38-10. Pittsburgh winning big at home against Houston, as the Oilers still can't win on the road, or haven't won at all this year. And Cleveland has edged Buffalo 13-10. First win for new coach Marty Schottenheimer. And the Bills still hungry for their first victory of '84. Sacks and a flag down. Richard Dent. Oh, as we said, has 6.5 sacks the last 3 games, and he's just been terrorizing Wilson all day.
I think he's had 4 today, Dick.
Holding against the Raiders just to rub a little salt in the wound. Richard Dent, 6'5", 253, in his second year from Tennessee State, an 8th-round draft pick a year ago, and he's playing like a #1 pick in the entire draft.
Offense declined, 2nd down.
Well, the Bears now, you know, they say we ought to measure ourselves. They've done that, but will they have their starting quarterback Jim McMahon next week? Long throw and open is Sammy Seal. So Seal, who's seen very little opportunity other than special teams play, showing his speed downfield.
There's nothing worse for an offensive team and a quarterback to have to throw the football when you have the options. And you hear coaches talk about the importance of having options offensively. There are no options left for the Raiders. They're throwing the football. The Bears know it, and the Bears have a great scheme to attack. They continue to do that relentlessly.
Jim Plunkett, how soon will he be available? The Raiders have Seattle. That's a Monday night game. Kansas City. I'm sorry, it's Kansas City 2 weeks from now. I said they play them next week. Seattle, Kansas City, Indianapolis, at Miami, at Detroit, and Pittsburgh. Nothing too easy in the remaining 6 for the defending champions. Wilson somehow ducks out of that problem, and Fensick has another interception. Gary Fensick to the 23-yard line. And that just adds some frosting to a brilliant defensive day for the Chicago Bears defensive unit. They have been most impressive.
The pictures will tell you now about the changes emotionally on the 2 sidelines. Something great about celebrating a victory and having been through both the exciting win and the upset losses. I know the pain on one side and the joy on the other.
And in contrast to the joy on the Bears sidelines, the Raiders will go home knowing that they've lost the football 12 times in 2 games, and you can't expect to win with that kind of statistic. 7 last week against Denver, and they've lost at 5, plus 8 sacks today. And now it's just a matter of watching the final seconds tick away. 34 seconds showing on the clock, so they'll have to execute one more play. Gary Fensick with a couple of interceptions. Leslie Frazier had a couple.
Most of those interceptions set up by the tremendous pressure on the quarterbacks. When you can control the line of scrimmage and attack that quarterback, his life is very, very miserable.
Unofficially, Richard Dent with 4.5 sacks. The star, he's had 11 sacks in the last 4 games. Walter Payton, brilliant as always, but it was really the defense. Hang the star on that defensive door. They were the ones who bring home the 17-6 victory for the first-place Chicago Bears.
Me and the crew, we're taking this road.